Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's live stream, and today we will be rewatching the 2002 Daytona 500 for our Throwback Thursday this evening. And this is one of my favorites of all time. I've rewatched this race probably 2 or 3 times in the past. It is, I'd say the best way to describe it, it is probably the most 2022, 2023 now, but any NASCAR race you might have watched in 2022 or have watched in recent years, it's the most 2020s super speedway race in NASCAR, but back in 2002. So it was something that wasn't necessarily normal at that time, and you'll find out about that as we get closer to the end of the race, just with the chaoticness, because that seems to be in a lot of super speedway races now. But of course you had drivers of yesteryear from 2002 racing, of course, a lot of drivers that aren't racing today. There are very few drivers that were racing as of the last couple years even that are in this race, but we'll take a look at this one. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as usual. We're not going to waste too much time. This is one of the longer races on the Daytona 500 list of the races we have watched so far. So we'll try to get into this one and get this underway. NBC covers this race. Michael Waltrip will be the defending winner of the race. And I believe it was the first NBC race that they covered a Daytona 500 in. Oh, gotta give you guys sound.
Big news!
We've got ads.
DraftKings Sportsbook is live in Ohio.
You'll be so
I was not
dialed into every
expecting
play
that.
you forget to eat your wings.
Probably getting ads.
DraftKings Sportsbook is live in Ohio. Download the app now and bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets
Hopefully it doesn't
instant.
interrupt
Action's
us
so
at
good,
wrong
why bet
times.
anywhere
That's all I
else?
hope for.
It's a beautiful day in Daytona.
Just to let
Sunny,
me know if the
temperature
audio on
near
the chat
70,
is,
and the
good to
start
go.
of the Daytona 500 is
You
coming
guys
up.
be able to hear me at the same time you able to hear the actual race broadcast.
NBC Sports welcomes you back to the Daytona 500, where 43 drivers are getting ready to race. Right now, sitting on pit road.
Dark
Pretty
Crypto,
soon, they'll be
Christopher
following the
Jimenez,
Pontiac
Daddy
pace
Rundy
car, the
Creations, Steve
official
Isaac,
pace
thanks for
car of the
tuning in.
Daytona 500. It's the special Firebird Collector's Edition, and there is somebody special at the wheel. The host of The Tonight Show here on NBC, Jay Leno. Jay, I know you love your cards. How's that seat?
Hey, 44 driver, not 43. Come on.
You're going to get out of the way, though, aren't you?
I'm going to be the only pace car driver ever to be black flag.
You going to be watching the mirror?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm going to be watching the mirror.
Well, enjoy it out there. I know you're looking forward to it.
All right, I guess I'll throw it back to Alan in the booth,
That's
right?
right.
There you go, Alan.
right, Jay
Jay,
Leno.
we're charged up too. Hey, just use your turn signal when you hang that left onto pit road. Those guys behind you will be in kind of a hurry. With the 1975 Daytona 500 winner, Benny Parsons, Wally Dallenbach, a 9-time veteran of this race. You know, we've been here for 10 days of preliminaries and pressure, BP moments before the start. What are the driver's mind sets right
You
now?
know, they call this the Super Bowl of stock car racing, and rightfully so, I might add. And just like the football
think this is
Super
a
Bowl,
lot of
these
fun.
drivers have had 10 days of distractions, one right after the other. Media, radio, TV, but right now, they're in their office. They're focused in on the job at hand to win the Daytona 500.
Hopefully that's
Well,
going to be good enough
traffic
for you
is going to be
guys.
its heaviest right here at the start.
Yeah.
Alan
Patience,
Bestwick,
too.
Wally
That's one thing
Dallenbach,
NASCAR
Benny
will talk
Parsons.
about in the driver's meeting. Patience and give and take. You'll see a lot of guys
Sam
trying to be
thanks for
careful
tuning
getting
in.
Position, but towards this end of this race, it'll be all take.
That's absolutely. Everyone wants to win the sport's biggest prize. Their once-a-year shot at it comes up next. They've been coming in since just after sunrise this morning. Some 170,000 fans jamming this massive stadium, all waiting for the start of the Daytona 500, which you'll see live on NBC next.
Probably gonna get copyrighted for this for the music playing on the pre-race. I don't expect to make much out of these streams anyway. I'm lucky if they even stay up on YouTube. Sometimes they get taken down for copyright.
Daytona 500 is brought to you by Team Monte Carlo. The car's more champions.
Thursdays are just about go back
Shipping
watching old
will
races.
be there.
Not next week though. Next week we got the dual races at Daytona. So there will be no Throwback Thursday next weekend.
It's Hamburger Bliss. And by Coca-Cola, official soft
No
drink
Coleman,
of
thanks for
NASCAR.
tuning in. Alan Bestwick. It's in the name. It is in the name.
In the final start of his long
One of my favorites, but I
career, Dave
preferably
Marcus given a ceremonial lap
would
at the
take
head of the
Mike
field
Joy.
behind the pace car now, and he'll drop back to his
That's just me
spot for the
personally.
Daytona 500 in 14th position.
Hey, remember when these guys played the All-Star race?
The official beer of NASCAR is the proud sponsor.
Was that last year or the year before?
Fastest qualifier
It was 2 years ago.
Rookie Jimmy Johnson gets the first pole of 2002 and only his 4th Winston Cup start. Since 1979,
Honestly didn't realize Jimmy Johnson was on the pole in this race.
as the title sponsor of NASCAR.
Rookie Jimmy Johnson on the pole.
And now the
Hendrick Motorsports has always had a stranglehold on the pole for the Daytona 500. It is insane. Even back in 2002.
Year's Rookie of the Year. Row number 2, the two winners of the qualifying
Like Waltrip
races
starting
here
up there.
Thursday. Jeff Gordon, the two-time
Gordon and
500
Waltrip
winner,
won the
and
duels.
last year's race champion Michael Waltrip.
On the inside of row 3, Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the 300-mile race yesterday afternoon. Has won the last 2 plate races.
Joshua
And Tony
Rumsey, Corey
Stewart
Freet,
won
welcome
the
in.
shootout last Sunday. Also the IROC race on Friday. On the inside of row 4, Kenny Schrader always runs well, as he said, and Jerry Nadeau. He was 6th here in July.
The first forward in the field is Ricky Rudds in row number 5, making his 25th Daytona 500 start. And Bobby Labonte, the 2000 Series champion, with him. The 6th row is Terry Labonte. Never won at Daytona in 46 races. Robbie Gordon won the last race of last season.
On the inside of row 7, Sterling Marlin won the 500 2 years ago.
Just say Dave
94
Marcus
and
was
1995. And Dave Marcus,
still racing.
we saw him just a moment ago. His 33rd and final 500. Kurt Busch on the inside of row 8, alongside petty driver John Andretti.
2 of the 3 Wallace brothers.
Starting
in
top
race
half of the
share
field,
row
too.
9. It's Mike Wallace and Kenny Wallace.
Kenny Wallace in the 1 car for DEI.
Incorporated. The 10th row, it's Ward Burton, led a quarter of last
Steve
year's
Park's
race,
still
but hung
injured.
up in a big wreck near the finish. And Mike Skinner in a 2-time Daytona 500 winning car.
On the inside of row 11 is Dale Jarrett. The UPS Ford has won his 500 3 times. So let's try to talk to him. Dale Jarrett, Benny Parsons, you got me?
I was looking compared to other people after a couple pit stops. Thank you, Benny.
All right, DJ, you won this thing 3 times. Can you make it 4 today?
Well, we've got that opportunity, thanks to NASCAR helping the force out this week to make it more competitive. Now we just have to do everything.
Ryan Newman in his first race. Well, not his first race. I think he ran the 0-2 a couple times in 2001.
Where is the right position? In front?
First full-time season, though.
How much a Ford can lead, though, so I might want to try to find myself in 2nd or 3rd when we get down to that point where we can start kind of shaking things out there at the end and then try to put this UPS Ford right in the front at the very end.
And Jeff Burton starting deep in the field. He must have had some sort of an issue in the duel race.
Dale Jarrett starting in row
Shauna Robinson's in this race.
3 drivers will have to go to the
I had
back of the
zero
pack
clue
because they are in
she was in this Daytona 500. I've watched this thing a few times already.
in practice in the qualifying races.
Because I haven't paid enough attention to the starting
Rusty
lineup.
Wallace, Dave Blaney,
Hey, good for her
and
racing her
Shauna
way in,
Robinson.
though. There's probably quite a few entries, too.
Looking at the rest
There we
of
go,
the
Dave
Sadler
Blaney.
and the Wood Brothers car, making
Bringing it
his
up the rear.
43rd start in the 500 in 44 races here.
Ricky
Man's
Craven
Ricky
starting
Craven
last.
starts last on the field. 10 drivers failed to qualify for the 500.
Final cup start for Dave Marcus. Yeah, there's quite a few guys that missed. Buckshot Jones missed. Coolest name in all of... Wow, Greg Biffle missed. Greg Biffle missed the Daytona 500 in 2002. I mean, he was a rookie in 03, but... See, that's what I mean. Shauna Robinson raced her way, and that's pretty good. I mean, there was over a dozen drivers I missed.
In final Winston Cup point standings, and I think that's about as good as he gets.
F in the chat for
lap from the start of the Daytona
the 5th.
500 to pit road and Matt Yoakum.
Alan, while veteran Dave Marcus makes his 33rd and final Daytona 500, sophomore Kevin Harvick makes his first run here in the Great American Race. He told me this morning his biggest concern is actually getting other drivers to go with him with his lack of experience. He only has 3 other plate appearances last season. He has talked to Tony Stewart and to Michael Waltrip. They have
That's an underrated
deals, but
good
deals
wrench
are
paint
always
scheme,
good,
I will
says
say.
they're written on and nobody writes anything down. One
Not
good
the
thing
best,
about
but
Stewart,
still pretty
they're
good.
located right next to each other, to Marty Snyder.
David Niehoff, Fords must have sandbagged, I guess so.
Racing had 5 engines in that race, and they lost due to failure 3 of those engines. So
Billy
Friday
Kramer,
night,
welcome in
they
also.
rented an airplane hangar, rebuilt all of their race engines for today's race. There are some nervous people in the route.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Jeff Burton starting deep in the field,
those race engines. Today, Burns.
And Greg Biffle missed the
Earnhardt was
show.
great here in Daytona, but one of his good friends has been the best driver in the last 10 races here, including the July races. That driver, Rusty Wallace. His average finish, 9.3. It's been very,
Won the Busch
very
Series
good, but
championship
Rusty's
this year?
never won this
I
race,
do
and
believe
he's
so.
hoping today, in his 20th try, he can make it to victory lane. Alan?
All right, Dave, less than half a lap from the green flag in the Daytona 500. Perfect weather conditions.
Yes, it
Can't
is.
believe we're only 10 days
Looks like
away from the
this
Daytona
is
500.
Martin. Oh, man.
Feels like it wasn't that long
Just
ago I
thinking
was
about
there
what
last
can we
year,
do?
I swear.
need to get
It doesn't
good
feel like
start
that was a full
because
year
these
ago.
first few laps are important. On fresh tires, you can do something. After 20, 30 laps,
Omar,
it's gonna
thanks
be
for tuning
harder
in.
and harder to pass. You're right.
I do like that Sitco paint scheme, very underrated. I have both his Sitco and Pennzoil paint scheme. Oh, we got a slow car.
And Mike Wallace looks like his car is stalled in turn 3.
Oh no.
Wallace was scheduled to start 17th, and the start has been waved off.
They were going to go green that time too. Stalled in turn 3.
Marty, what's going on?
Well, they had problems cranking it at the beginning when they gave the command to start the engines, Benny, and he said it just shut off, and it won't turn over right now, and I believe they're going to go green without Mike Wallace.
Going to be one to go on the
That's tough.
start-finish line, which means the green flag will be next time.
Would he, I don't know how it was in the Winston Cup points format. Would he get last place points, or does he have to make a lap to be able to actually get points? Or at least take the start. Maybe not even complete a lap, but take the start.
He's trying to jump.
Like now they could go to the garage and come back out like 50 laps down, technically, because they still earned a spot in the race.
There's Andy Petrie, the team owner of that 33 car.
That's tough.
And you can see him holding his head.
He looks
thinking,
disgusted.
What in the world could be going wrong? But I see that.
They had a good plate program too in the early 2000s.
Question is, how long will it run?
Kenny Wallace had some good runs in the 55 at Talladega. Bobby Hamilton had a win too at one point, 2002. Also in the 55 Square D car.
For the start.
And that's probably a good place to start, because if he does have problems, he doesn't want to be where he was.
Marty?
Well, what they think has happened now
Give
is
me
the
Hawk.
main
Thanks for
ignition
tuning
has
in.
gone bad, and they're on the secondary ignition now. And I'm going to try to get
You got a
rid of
fair
Andy
point
Petrie
there.
as soon as he solves this issue.
Even when Austin
Let's see if we
Cindric
can
made
get
some
a word
one-off
real
starts in
quickly.
the Penske car,
Andy,
number
any idea what it
33 in his, it wasn't even his rookie season. He ran like part-time schedule in 2020, I think it was.
The end of the switch off. And then what happened was he went to the
Or
secondary.
2021, sorry.
The steering wheel switch, the cutoff switch.
2021. He would lead some laps in some races, but he could never make it to the end of the race. He always had a mechanical
earlier,
issue.
but it does appear to be the primary ignition switch has gone bad on Mike Wallace's car.
$1.50 part on a $100,000 race car. They're coming to the green this time. So Mike Wallace goes to the end of the field. Last year, here at Daytona, driving for a different team, he started last in one of these races and came up with a top 10 finish.
On the steering wheel, we see Michael Waltrip weaving the steering wheel back and forth. Somewhere on that steering wheel is a switch these drivers can hit that will kill the ignition. Somehow, Mike Wallace, according to Andy Petrie, you see there's a radio. I think on the left side is a kill switch. And all they got to do is touch that, and it kills the engine. And somehow, Andy Petrie thinks that Mike Wallace touched that while trying to start the car.
It'll take 200 laps around the 2.5
Come on,
miles
Mike.
Daytona Speedway to make up the 500-mile distance this afternoon.
Wow, pit window's really large. 55 to 65 laps?
At least from that
That doesn't seem right.
Jay Leno takes the pace car to
We'll see if that's accurate as the race continues. We saw that in the 90 races, but I thought in 2002 they had a different fuel window. Restrictor plates, maybe not. I thought with this package they had a different... Oh well. Alright, let's get the race. Had fun watching the 2001 dual race. Or, not dual race. Blood shootout last week.
Looks like an outside line.
I was about to say the same thing. Outside, just going quickly. And the pole sitter doesn't lead. What? I want to know. Literally almost every race we've watched, the pole sitter doesn't lead the first lap. And they go straight backwards, too. It's not like they're second or third at the end of the lap, either. They're always like fourth, fifth, and dropping. Even Jimmy Johnson loses 4 spots on the first lap. What is up with the pole sitter not being able to lead a lap, the first lap, specifically in the Daytona 500? Curious to see how he finishes this race, because we haven't seen good finishes out of the pole sitters either. I have no clue where Jimmy Johnson finishes in this race. I do know most of this race towards the end.
Not able to make a move. Tony Stewart going to try and get a push from those Hendrick Chevys, see if he can make a run on those front 4.
I can't tell you what lap, like, or I wouldn't tell you anyway, but I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly, like, what lap specific things may have happened.
With a silent lap 3. We do that once again.
Kevin Harvick leading. Waltrip second. You know, it's fitting on lap 3 of the Daytona 500, the year after Dale Earnhardt had passed. You got Kevin Harvick, which is his car, leading the race, and Michael Waltrip, the guy who won the race last year, running second for DEI. Tony Stewart has a problem.
Tony Stewart is off the pace, the winner of the Bud Shootout. Finished second in the
he won the Bud Shootout in 2002 also?
People's pick to win this Daytona 500.
Wow.
It's only lasted 2
On the Bud
laps.
Shootout 01 and 02 then.
You can hear the motors off right there. There's no running of that engine. How about it, Matt?
Benny, Greg Zipadelli asked Tony on the radio, is it the motor? Is it the motor? He says, yep, it froze.
Wow. Tony Stewart, one of the dominant cars.
If I were Bobby Labonte, I'd be like, well, that's not good for us, is it?
Outside position on the 29 car of Harvick.
Junior up there, too.
Junior going with. My money's on Michael.
Yeah, that's a pretty good bet.
DEI going to work. Tony Stewart and Mike Wallace having engine issues either before the race started or literally a couple laps into the race. Oh, wow, Junior got really loose there. I think Nadu got into the back of him.
Junior got that Bud car very, very loose going in turn 3.
Yeah, that was awfully close. It could have been even a little bit of contact there.
Credit to old man Dave Marcus running in the top 10 right now. I think I saw him in 9th on the leaderboard the last time it went through. What the heck is going on?
Schrader in the yellow car moves up behind Kevin Harvick. Michael Waltrip so confident all week long. You heard him in our pre-race show.
Size thanks for tuning in.
His day for back-to-back 500 wins. Let's get more on Tony Stewart's situation, Matt.
Alan, I've caught for Greg Zipadelli. Tony, give you any idea what might have happened inside the motor?
No, we probably broke a piston or something. It seems like it blew apart pretty good, and 18 car had one go the other day. Truck team had one go the other day. It doesn't seem like we're up on our game here with our motor program, but they've been working awful hard this winter, and we'll bounce back. It just, you know, we had a great race car. Home Depot Pontiac's been awesome all weekend. Tony's spirits have been up. This whole team has been excited about coming here and trying to win our first Daytona 500, but I guess we'll be back next year.
Rain washed out the final practice. Do you feel like this is something that probably would have cropped up in the final practice session?
Yeah, but I mean, everybody was in the same boat. 90%, 95% of us put our race motors in. It's something that we do week in, week out, and, you know, it's a chance you take, but it just come off the dyno. They ran good. They run a bunch of pulls on it, and it just wasn't our day. I mean, somebody, I don't know, just one of those deals, man. I don't know.
The 20 team, looking at the championship this year, uses a mulligan early in that Tyler Chase.
I think he'll be fine. He'll eventually go on to win the championship anyway, so even though he finishes last in the Daytona 500, Mike Wallace stay in the race? Confused. They get Mike Wallace going again? Have to wait for the leaderboard to get to the back of the field. Santiago Kit, thanks for tuning in. I honestly, I'm probably, I'm not rooting for anybody particular to win the Super Bowl, but if I had to put my money on it, I'd probably take Philly. Probably take Philly to end up winning the Super Bowl this weekend. KC offense. They're lethal though.
And this is the third year in a row that Tony
Should be a
Stewart
pretty
gets
good
the season
game.
off to a terrible, terrible start.
Yeah, Tony Stewart is last.
Matt Kenseth in the 17 car drive by.
Mark started 39th. That time across the start-finish line, he's up to 20th.
Ty Bodine's on the move. He ran good in the last Daytona 500 we watched. 1994. Until he ended up getting turned. Jeff Gordon.
Started third on the inside of row 2.
He's back to 15th the last time by.
Speaking of Jeff, there he is. Jeff Burton's on the move too. Where's he? He's like 14th already. He started like what, 37, something like that? 30, back 30s. Jeff Burton is hustling right now. That is insane how quickly he got through the field. 8 completed laps. Got up to 15th. He's gained over 20 spots in 8 laps.
And notice all of those drivers who spotlighted as moving up quickly. They're driving fours. Qualified poorly, starting in the back. Seem to be working their way toward the front.
Another guy that's moving up pretty good there is Mike Skinner in that third car.
Top 5 or 6 have been single file the whole time, but it's been a lot of lane changing 2x2 racing going on from the back half of the top 10 all the way to the tail end of the field.
Dave Blaney off the pace.
Oh, no!
Hartford, Ohio driver.
Ohio native.
17, changing rides over the
Dave Blaney.
He's got problems at lap 9.
Hey, he beat Tony Stewart, though. He beat the 2002 NASCAR champ. That sucks, though. Biffle missed the race. Dave Blaney blows a motor 9 laps in. This is the blowing motor Daytona 500. 10 laps in, we got Mike Wallace having an issue with his engine before the race starts. We got Tony Stewart, Dave Blaney blowing motors in the first 10 laps. Todd was a force on the super speedways and the trucks. I honestly couldn't tell you if that's true or false. I didn't really watch too many truck races like around this era, like early 2000s to mid 2000s, late 2000s on I did. Todd was my favorite. It was around the time where like the Red Horse racing trucks were winning a lot of the super speedway races. That was about the time I was getting into the truck series. I don't think I had Speed Channel. We didn't have cable at like my house, so I couldn't really watch the race on my own.
On that race bar, he said, no, we don't, and we're a little bit worried about that. Hey, Dave, you got Tony down there?
We have caught up with Tony now, and Tony, you told us you had no laps on that race motor. Did that worry you going in?
It's never worried me. I've got the most confidence in our motor department, Joe Gibbs Racing, and whatever happened was a freak deal. The part that makes me feel bad is there's so many of these guys, as you see behind us, that have worked all winter to get this car done, and their families and their wives and their kids have been letting their dads and their husbands go to work and work 10, 12-hour days to try to get this car where it was this week. And I told them right before the race, no matter what happens, guys, you guys gave us a very, very good race car here, and it's a tough way to start the year, but I feel worse for the guys than anything, because they've poured their hearts and souls into making this car what it is.
That's the word right there. Tough. Very tough way for Tony to start. He was a favorite, guys.
And we use the Super Bowl analogy, and Tony Stewart's season started out just like a quarterback throwing an interception on the first series.
It's a little better than last year's exit of the race, I guess, where he ran in contention and ended up taking out on a big wreck at the end of the day. I don't know.
Yeah, it's better not to wreck.
Sterling Marlin on the move.
Fourth, make it 5th place here. Mike Skinner in the gold car getting shuffled out.
I didn't realize Skinner was in the top 5.
97 car is Kurt Busch. Las Vegas youngster moving into 6th.
Man, Skinner's side drafting the heck out of the 36 on the bottom.
Schrader down low.
And look how quickly that these guys start falling back as soon as they get side by side.
Yeah. I mean, you can run side by side, but when you're that close to each other taking the side draft, it really slows you down.
And look at Craven in the middle.
Wow. Ricky Craven started last.
In the 66. Then Rusty Wallace is going to try the middle.
Oh my gosh. Newman follows him.
Right there in front of that Kmart car. Wow.
So Ricky Craven continues to move forward after starting last. He's up
Get dicey. They got 3 wide going on.
He slides back. He started third. He's fallen back to 14.
That's unbelievable. Ricky Craven's barely outside the top 10 right now after starting last. It's only lap 13.
Stewart is already out of it.
America.
.44-acre Lake Lloyd shimmering in the Florida sunshine in the infield of the Daytona International Speedway as 41 drivers pursue victory in the Great American Race. NBC Sports with live coverage of the Daytona 500, 16 laps in. Let's check our lows, improvers, and snoozers. Those moving up in the early going, including 3 Ford drivers.
I didn't realize Rusty Wallace started that deep in the field, too. 37th up to 12th. Oh, Mac heads it, too. Yeah, a lot of the Fords did start out at the back.
Some of the snoozers, drivers slipping back.
Johnson started first all the way back at 26th already. I kind of figured Dave Marcus was going to finish as high as he was running in the opening laps. I didn't think he was going to drop back that quick. Might have done that out of strategy, though, just stay out of trouble. He's too old to get in a vicious accident. Some would say if that's the case, then don't race at all. But he still wanted to race. Can't fault him for it. He raced his way in. He earned his spot.
There's at least a dozen who don't have them on their car today. Call them blocking mirrors. They don't like them. Wally, did you ever use a mirror like this and block someone?
Well, I've blocked someone for sure, but I've never used a mirror. And Dave,
yeah, and I mean, it's been like that pretty much since the start of the race, too, with DEI 1-2 and Harvick in the top 3. At least. Harvick was leading the first few laps. For Waltrip and Earnhardt got to the outside and took the lead, but then he was quickly able to get into third right behind him. He's been there ever since.
I agree wholeheartedly, and again, that's what they are, blocking mirrors, nothing else but.
Can't believe you didn't have one on your go-kart helmet the other night. You were blocking all over the place.
Didn't need to. I was out front. Yeah. Didn't need it.
About to complete 50 miles of this race, Michael Waltrip crosses the start-finish line with the race lead. Waltrip has led all but the first 3 circuits of the event. Kevin Harvick paced those. Look at the running order on top of the screen. And
even Kenny Wallace is up in 11th, though. Right with his brother.
Those laps on new sets of tires is the race is thinning out.
Yeah, it's gone Indian file, hasn't it, Alan? And that's why I said I'm real interested to see what happens with the Fords right now, because without that little extra rear spoiler, yes, it makes their cars a little bit faster, but it takes a little bit of downforce away. Downforce, let me try to explain it real quick. It's like if I'm sitting on a bicycle and Benny's sitting next to a bicycle, Benny's bicycle is going to get into that racetrack a lot better than mine. It's got more downforce, and that's what we're talking about downforce.
I resemble that remark. Matt, what's going on with the 15 car?
Well, Benny, while Michael Waltrip continues to lead, one of the main reasons why he went to the front, his car was running a little warm. The water temperature was starting to climb, so he went to the front to get some clean air, not the turbulent warm air, to try to cool that water down a little bit. He says his car is just a tick loose, just like the twin 125 qualifiers on Thursday. You know?
Matt, at the beginning of this race, Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson both had good starting positions, but once they threw the green flag, they didn't have any friends. So when the field started moving forward, no one would help the 24 or the 48. They've fallen back in the pack. Gordon just
all by himself. I didn't realize how quickly the field kind of spread apart. Must have happened more during the commercial break.
He's waiting for the pack to catch him from behind. As for the car he co-owns and our rookie pole sitter, Jimmy Johnson, he's getting tremendous encouragement over the radio that his car is also tight. Chad Knaus just told him, do your best.
Jimmy Johnson all the way back at 33. Oh, well.
Dale Jr.'s in trouble. Turn 2.
Right front tire looks like it.
Oh, it is the right front. I was thinking it was the motor at first.
Definitely came apart.
Another.
Oh, that's a lot of damage.
Fallen by the wayside early.
And Tony Uri Sr., the crew chief, is telling his crew what to do.
And that is just ripping that car apart.
It does so much damage if you have oil lines or brake lines or anything. That is just like a big old whip going through there and tearing everything apart.
Michael Waltrip. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s radio.
They were only midway through the run, too. Way to go, Goodyear. Honestly, can't remember if there were too many other tire issues throughout the course of the race. It might have been just the load, the setup they had potentially. Well, it could have been the setup on the car. You wouldn't think it would be just with all the practice and the dual races leading up to the 500.
What happened to Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
Watch as we go down in turn 1. Junior's
Probably just a freak thing. Oh yeah, it was middle of the straightaway too. It wasn't even like in the corner. He never hit the wall. It blew out well before he got into turn 1.
Front tires go down right when you're in the center of the corner and you hit the wall hard. He was real lucky there.
Another shot. You see the car wiggle. You see Harvick.
Yeah, that probably could have caused a bigger crash too if he was in the middle of the corner, slapped the wall, and ended up coming back across the track. Good job at least staying high out of the way. Good thing everybody was single file at the time too, so nobody else was involved. Yeah, he ran over something.
And that's probably what cut the right front tire on Earnhardt's car.
Yeah, he ran over a piece of metal or something.
Benny, Michael Waltrip came on the radio and said, either something fell off my car or I ran over something, and that something is exactly what Dale Earnhardt Jr. ran over, so we probably need to pit just to check our tires as well. Marty.
Dale Jr. did think he ran over something mad. He said he thought he felt something, and that's what caused the right front to go down. This is such a heartbreak for these guys.
He ran over a piece of metal. I take what I said about Goodyear back. It was not Goodyear's fault. They get a lot of scrutiny, you know, only scrutinize them when they deserve it. They did not deserve that. I apologize.
His car was just a tick loose. They're going to make a chassis adjustment to take care of that. 4 tires for the former Winston Cup champion here in the Daytona.
Even if this race was 21 years ago. Oh no, Shauna, get out of the way. Oh no, we got more problems. Kevin Harvick and Mike Skinner making contact. Shauna Robinson and Bobby Labonte. Somebody's just hydroplaning coming out of their box. I think that was Schrader. The heck was that? Sequence was all over the place. They had like 3 separate incidents at once on pit road. That's what happens when you have like 40 cars spinning at once, though, I guess.
Racetrack running was in the lead lap, so they were in the lead lap. They can all make a pit stop. They all came down pit road at the same time, and let's face it, this pit road will not accommodate 40 cars at one time.
I'm trying to figure out why Shauna Robinson stopped, because there were a couple of cars that were like still ahead of her. I don't know. Maybe she was waiting on somebody coming out. Still, that was strange. Then it looked like the 4 was coming into his boxes. Harvick was leaving, and then he got into him.
A lot of things happening in the early going of the 44th Daytona 500. NBC Sports in Daytona Beach, Florida, with the opening race of the.
It's back when they had fuel for Metallica.
Here's what's happened to one of the.
Yeah, there was definitely something there. Can't tell what that is.
Piece of debris shot him. He goes under the car, hits the front.
Boom!
And you see the thing come out the side of the car about the same time as Junior's right front tire goes flat.
Yeah.
Here's Dale Earnhardt
That's
Jr.'s
tough.
view.
You just see he's right along, just like he's
One DEI car passes debris to another.
I don't even know if he actually saw the piece come out from under Michael's car.
I mean, it could have been laying there and Michael ran it over but didn't run it over with the tires.
Right there.
It looked like it fell off the 15, though, the way there was smoke coming out of the back of the car there for a quick second.
He did the best thing he could, just try to keep it straight, let these guys behind him get around.
That puff of smoke there you saw just before the piece of metal came out.
Yeah, it leads me to believe it was from the 15 car.
Michael's car, or whether it was on the track.
And right now, with the damage that he has to his car, with all this damage, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will not win the Daytona 500, but they'll try to get the best finish they can. Marty?
Benny, here's what's left of that tire.
Never count a DEI car out of winning any super speedway race if they are still in it. You never know. Even though this race already happened, but you never know.
They just cut part of that off instead, and they're now going to replace the right front fender on Dale Jr.'s car. But indeed, their shot to win this race is pretty much over.
Wonder if they're still on the lead lap.
Kevin Harvick got some
Find out when they get to the restart, I guess.
Yeah, I was watching Kevin's pit stop, and just as he was leaving the pit, Skinner, the 4 car, is trying to dive into his pit, and here's the contact. And
oh man, good thing that crew member got out of the way in time on Ricky Rudd's car.
Aerodynamically, that hurts.
Ricky Rudd has been on pit road as well several times for repairs under this caution.
That right front tire changer on Ricky Rudd's car, it was either the tire changer or the jackman, but somebody just got out of the way in time. Whoa! A little late coming back from the commercial break, I see.
The green flag back in the air at Daytona. Matt Kenseth is the new leader.
Michael Waltrip got hung out. Either that or he tried to make a move and nobody went with him. Oh, Kenseth's going to get hung out now. Let's go, Schrader. Get it, Kenny.
Team up and drive by Kenseth, and here comes the 40 car trying to go on the inside.
Now Newman's going to get shuffled out. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. 43's still up there. Now he's got Terry Labonte and Dale Jarrett moving. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's not going to get hung out.
He somehow got between the 12 car of Ryan Newman and the 7 of Casey Atwood. There was a room for that car.
Kenny Schrader leading his first lap.
Was right on Robbie's tail and probably gave him a pretty good run. So
900 horsepower next gen. Thanks for tuning in.
Bobby Labonte is up there. Dale Jarrett and Jeff Gordon are in the group also.
Yeah, it didn't look like that debris was already laying there. Like NASCAR should have thrown the yellow. I think it looked like it just came off the 15 car, and Waltrip happened to be the leader, and Dale Jr. happened to be the guy in second running behind him. No chance to miss it. Got 3 wide at the back of this pack. They're split up, though. There's probably like 20 cars in this pack, and then everybody else is holding way behind them.
Trying to make some moves forward.
Probably catch them, though. They keep running like this. If they choose to.
Ken Schrader leading the Daytona 500. His 18th start in this race. He's run very well.
John Andretti trying to go for the lead, too. It was a pretty calm start until that caution for Dale Jr. blowing the tire. Now they're getting racy. Sterling's making a move. Now they're getting real racy.
Tries to take the lead. If the start-finish line had been on the backstretch, we might have credited Andretti with leading that lap, but
that didn't make any sense. Sorry, Benny. If the start-finish line would have been on the backstretch, then maybe John Andretti would have led that lap. That doesn't make any sense. The start-finish line isn't on the backstretch, so he ended up leading the lap anyway. That's 5 bonus points for John Andretti.
And John Andretti was credited with leading that lap.
That was such a random thing to say. I love Benny Parsons, but that was such a like a random thing that didn't need to be said. Oh man, Kenseth's tight in the middle, 3 wide. Dale Jarrett following him.
He was the leader on the restart.
It is dicey.
John Andretti driving the Petty number 43.
Ricky Craven going. Man, yeah, there are a lot of cars deep 3 wide, too. Kenseth looks like he's trying to get in between the 25 and the 31. There's not enough room. Might try to get down to the bottom. He's content with staying in the middle, it looks like. Look at this. This is not. You don't want to be 3 wide this many cars deep this early in the race. Even now. Like, it doesn't matter. We don't even have bumpy Daytona now. It is still way too early to go 3 wide like this. All it takes is just one little somebody to make a wrong lane change at the wrong time, or not realize somebody's like on the bottom as they move down. Spotters are trying to do the best they can. I mean, look at the back of the pack caught up. It was only like 20 cars. Now it looks like it's more than that. I know Jeff Burton was hanging back there in like a 3 or 4 car group. I kind of figured everybody was going to catch him if they chose. This is insane. This early in the race for them to have this intense racing. Nobody's going anywhere.
Todd Bodine in the 66.
You love to see it, though.
How tense is it?
That's what you love to see, as long as they don't, lose control. I'd be white knuckling it.
If you've got a guy that's run a lot of these races, you know he's not going to do anything silly. It's not that bad. But if you've got a guy in your tail that is making you loose. It's getting his nose right.
Newman gave the 43 a big push into turn 3. Got to the outside of the 25 of Nadeau.
It's real tense.
And now here's Jeff Gordon in the middle.
It's amazing how much it narrows up off the exit of the corner, too. Looks like there's a little separation in the middle of the corner, then you get to the front stretch, it tightens up. Into the tri-oval, it feels like it probably tightens up even more.
Here's what you do. If I'm the car in the blue, I'm going to get my nose right behind this red car. It takes the air off his rear spoiler and packs the air underneath the bumper of the red car. What happens is that makes the rear tires light. That takes the downforce off the car, and it gets the car a little bit loose or a little bit sideways going into the corner. I'm in the blue car, I just turn the wheel and pass him. But I got to remember, he can do that to me next lap.
Jeff Gordon.
I don't think they're going to be doing that to make passes when they're 3 wide. I'll tell you that.
Playing with that accelerator coming off turn 4. He talked about the crew.
Maybe when they get single file, if they're like that later in the race.
But push off 4 and using the throttle to keep it from pushing.
That 3D model, they made it look a lot easier than what it actually is.
I mean, you're turning that wheel as hard as you can, saying turn, but the car has a mind of its own. It still continues to go straight.
And on the restrictor plate races like this, you don't want to get off the throttle. You'd rather just tap the brake.
Yeah, that whole field is in this lead pack now.
They don't want to accelerate.
It's amazing how quickly they just caught right up with a lot of the 2 and 3 wide racing.
If the car's handling.
Outside lane sliding back, Ken Schrader. In the lead, Sterling Marlin second. Jerry Nadeau is third. Then the race from fourth on back. The Daytona 500 coming your way on NBC. Five-car lead draft of the Daytona 500. Ken Schrader, Sterling Marlin, Jerry Nadeau, Dale Jarrett, and John Andretti. But the real story is the 8-car. Dale Earnhardt Jr.
What?
Hey, we said his chance to win was over.
This is unbelievable.
Look at him picking everybody off, too.
He's now up to 13th and watching.
I wonder if he was still on the lead lap. What a quick recovery. They have like a makeshift right front bumper on the race car to try to help in the draft.
Suspension damage in the wreck. They did put the front
Because that whole front bumper wasn't even there. They had to basically kind of attach a piece of like a backup car or something on there.
We've seen some strange things in the Daytona 500. I think this would perhaps be the strangest if he pulls this off somehow.
Running behind somebody with that body damage is one thing, but if he got out front, that would be a whole nother, wouldn't it? The rasher on it, and
I'm not going to say anything.
Smart.
That's hard to believe.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Hopefully that tape's going to stay sticking. Because they basically have that nose taped on there.
Earnhardt Jr. 10th right now behind Jeff Gordon.
Casey Atwood up to 7th or 11th in the 7th.
And that time as we listened to Jeff Gordon's car coming off turn 4, we did not hear that backing off the throttle.
Let's make our singular wireless call to the pits. Find out some updates on drivers after those last set of pit stops. Start with Bill Weber.
Okay, Alan, let's start at
Yeah, to get through the traffic as quickly as he did too is highly impressive. Like he would have been at the tail end of the field on that restart, single file nonetheless, not even double file.
4 new tires, no chassis adjustment.
And he got through there in less than 20 laps. He's back in the top 10.
But Ward just told him a few minutes ago, those are very fast lap times. Great run for Ken Schrader in the 44.
Go, Kenny!
Bill Matt Kenseth started in 40th position and raced his way up through the pack. Then he came into the pits running 14th and changed just 2 right side tires to fix a tight condition and to make up some more time. He was the restart leader. He's now back in 8th, and his Ford is running pretty well. Maybe it's the 5 3/4.
It's nice to know that Dave Blaney's back in the race. Unfortunately, he's 13 laps down.
Young Ryan Newman, he started 23rd. He made his way up.
He definitely is not winning this race.
He's running in about the 6th position.
He can outlast everybody else who DNFs, so it'll be interesting to see exactly where he finishes.
They added 2 pounds of pressure to the right rear tire. That should loosen up the car.
I remember the first handful of Daytona 500s we watched where Dave Blaney was in the race. He was having like good runs, good finishes. He was getting top 10s, top 15s a lot, running top 10 most of the race. And then like the last like 5 or 6 we've watched with him in it, and he's not made it to the end, or today he has an engine issue or some sort of mechanical issue. Must not have been an engine issue. Has it 10 laps into the race.
Been strong all week. We just got to pick
Charles Sasser, thanks for tuning in.
That little collision leaving pit road was half my fault, I guess. I was trying to steer him out. Didn't
Congrats on your
realize
win.
the car was going to be cut down that quick. But we got a long ways to go. We should be all right.
These cars are so aerodynamic sensitive. He restarted in the 36th position and slowly making his way back to the front.
But looking at the 29 car, they did a real nice job on repairing the right front of that fender. It doesn't look like it's got any damage at all, so we'll have to see if this affects it or not. Who's your buddy over there, BP?
Hey, hi there. How you doing, guy? You know, this is a validation for all of us that fix cars using duct tape.
Exactly.
You know, I poked a hole in my crankcase in my 57 Buick once, and I pulled
Jay
the
Leno in the
and that
booth.
tape is still on there. That was 2 years ago, and it's still
In the
holding
Daytona
up.
500.
I think he's going to go all the way.
Big thrill for you out there? That
Yeah,
race car?
it's a real thrill, actually. It was very, very exciting. I was able to come down a month ago and do some laps, did about 100 laps, and got up to about 145, and that was real exciting. So this is, you know, just pacing at 55 or 60, it's a little anticlimactic, but it was one of the biggest thrills in my life.
Something we were all talking about during the last commercial. It might be related to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s issue on the track. We were noticing a lot of stuff, papers and things blowing around
You know,
on the
I was
track.
amazed. There was a lot of paper, and I saw a couple of those plastic water bottles on the track, which amazed me. I kind of assumed they just went by and swept all that stuff up.
Johnny Benson trying to make a move on Mark Martin for 17th. Jay, hope you have a great day here.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you a little bit later. Thanks for having me out.
Look forward to it. Jay Leno, host of NBC's Tonight Show, here at the Daytona 500. Ken Schrader is the leader. We are just past.
I mean, at least they made that exchange pretty quick with Jay Leno in the booth. I thought he was going to be in the booth for like 20 laps or something. Like, all right, we kind of don't need that. Just stop by for a couple seconds.
The 44th Daytona of NASCAR. To you by Budweiser. With the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. not making the kind of progress he was before.
Ooh, boy.
That rapid ascension through the field has stopped, and now he's backing up.
Thought Tabo Diamond's going to make a little contact with Dale there.
He definitely doesn't have the downforce on that car like we talked about earlier as he did before the tire exploded. You can get away with that a little bit when you're on new tires, but as those tires get old, that car gets moving around a little bit. That's where it may hurt him a little bit when it comes to not having that downforce.
It was lap 21 if you're just joining us. A piece of debris either came off of or out from under Michael Waltrip's car. When he was leading and Dale Jr. was running second, Jr. ran it over with the right front tire. Went to pit road to repair all that damage.
See, Dale Earnhardt Jr. very, very high.
Still the top 10.
Miles per hour he might be getting.
Go ahead, BP.
Right around there.
Over there as the car picked up that push.
10th, 11th.
Down the front rated 186 as he closes in on the back of Matt Kenseth.
Jimmy Johnson's back up to 15.
187, 188, 189 miles per hour with a beat-up race car.
But I think you're right. He's got to push there because you can hear him get off the gas and the car went right up to the wall.
And the red dot on the right side of your screen shows you where on the racetrack the driver is that we're tracking.
Come on, Matt
Bump.
Kenseth said. Come on, Junior, bump me,
Bump.
hit me. Let's go. Push me by.
Bump.
That 8 car will run in a straight line, won't it?
Oh, man.
Not when he gets to the corner like that.
He had to back off the gas, getting in the corner. The DJ's going to slide in that hole.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. losing another spot. Well, actually, Dale Jarrett was inside of
How
it, so
tight
he's
those
still
three
in
cars are,
pole position.
single file,
Check the
too.
Coca-Cola family of drivers and see where they're running in the Daytona 500, just after 100 miles.
50 laps in already.
Scattered out midfield, most of them.
Doesn't feel like it. I mean, I guess with the commercials, that's one thing when we watch this race, all the commercials are kind of simulated, so you miss like 6, 7 laps, then they like come back. I think they've had 3 commercial breaks so far during the green flag racing.
And as Tony said, his teammate Bobby Labonte had exactly the same problem in testing. I think about 8 laps, something happened to his car, something engine. Dave Burns?
Bobby Labonte is having a rough day right now. Of course, remember earlier his teammate Tony Stewart had motor problems, and right now Mark Cronquist, the motor builder for Joe Gibbs Racing, is very nervous. Bobby radioed in just a little while ago that he had a slight vibration, and he backed off the pace even more. But that seems to have gone away. He got into trouble here on pit road because he got blocked in by Shauna Robinson, who had been blocked out of her pit by Matt Kenseth. So a long day for Bobby Labonte so far. Marty?
Well, Dave, let me show you the progress in Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pit. They are rebuilding an entire front end and a right front fender here. What they're going to do next time they come down pit road is they're going to take us 2 screw guns and attach this to the race car with pop rivets and screws. They have it on there with tape right now, like Wally pointed out, but that tape will not last very long. The entire team is here. They have rebuilt this piece. It goes pretty far back, almost to where the A-post would be on a race car, or where the front part of your front door would be on your passenger car. So this is a pretty big piece. They're going to try to put it on Junior's car. They say he's running in the top 20 without a front fender. Imagine what he can do if he has one.
Has been impressive, that's for sure.
Very, very impressive. My hats off to Junior and that entire crew.
Dale Jr. running in 10th place right now. That's Ward Burton right behind him.
Wow.
In the 11th spot.
12th on back, fell backwards in a hurry. It's always during the commercial breaks when they fall off, too. They come back from the break, and then everything just gets, like, back to normal. Oh.
In the top 4 spots, maybe not for long.
That move was not going to work for Nadu, but because the 36 moved down, it allowed the 25 to get a draft. I don't know if he's going to be able to clear him, though. No, he couldn't clear him. It almost worked.
Try to get by the 25 car during Nadu, and it looks like they may succeed.
Yeah, I don't know. 36 is going down to the bottom again. I mean, every time he does that, it's helping the 25 a little bit. Oh, Junior's moving down. I don't know if that's a start. I don't know. I don't think that's a wise idea for him to move down. I'll tell you what, Nadu's doing the best he can. Here goes Newman. Newman's taking him 3. Oh my gosh. That was not a good time to cut the brake. Right as Newman was taking him 3 wide for second. And then they come back and we've still got 3 wide. Probably had some good racing going on during that commercial break. Harvick's starting to get back there. Oh, Junior got stuck in the middle. 29 pulled out of line on him. Got hung out.
Mostly under caution after the only yellow of the day so far. Bill Weber.
Well, Alan, Ken Schrader continues to lead the parade around the Daytona International Speedway, and one characteristic about Schrader, he loves to have fun in a race car, so normally he's very chatty. Not today. Good car, quiet driver, just a little tick tight coming off at turn 4.
Because he's in the zone.
I don't think there's much humor in Schrader right now because, Bill, he has a chance to win the Daytona 500. He is all business inside that 36 car.
You know, we've talked about new school and old school drivers. Ken Schrader knows a lot of people don't think he can get it done at age 46. He feels like he's still very capable of winning anytime he straps into the race car, and he would like nothing better than to prove that to the world by winning the sport's biggest race.
Just talk about Schrader winning the 1988 Talladega race. He's a pretty good researcher plate racer. I think he's in the top 10 all time in most laps led in the Daytona 500. That's a great accomplishment for, you know, a guy like Kenny Schrader. He's led a lot of laps. In the 500 specifically.
Huge advantage if you can get away with it. The less tape you can run on the nose of the car, basically the faster it will go.
I won't spoil anything here for the finish.
45-year-old Rusty Wallace running in 5th place now in his 20th try in the Daytona 500. He says this year he'd like it to be his turn to win it.
This was a good race to watch. This is a good race.
I think we're deserving of it. I think the team's deserving
Got
of
very
it.
edgy. Edgier seat action.
20 times before he got his. And I love winning the Daytona 500. I feel like I've worked for it a whole life, and I feel like we're a worthy candidate.
And they are. There's no doubt about it. Rusty Wallace has been to Daytona. He's been on his roof in Daytona. He's been on his roof at Talladega. Dave Burns.
And Benny, they're very confident down here right now in the two pits. I just talked with Billy Wilburn, his crew chief, new crew chief this year, and he told me that they anticipated that the track would be a little bit loose today, so they've left him tight. In other words, he came into the pits last time, his car was tight. They didn't loosen him up too much. They kept him pretty much the same way he was, and the car is getting better and better. He is working with Ryan Newman, the rookie, to try to draft through the front and to stay in front, and it's working well so far.
Just past the 150-mile mark of the Daytona 500. Rusty Wallace chasing victory in the Great American Race. Kevin Harvick has come back from some early damage. He runs in the top 10 as well.
The 44th Daytona 500 is brought to you by Autotrader.com. New or used, buying or selling, it's the ultimate in automotive classified.
Don't realize how big that
lake/pond
lake/pond is on the back straightaway.
By Stacker 2,
So it's like show the aerial shot.
Burn fat, crush cravings, and supercharge your energy. And by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, we keep America running.
NASCAR Cup Series 2311 Racing. Thanks for tuning in.
Be
sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't already.
Heading up a 7-car lead draft. Schrader, Jerry Nadeau, Sterling Marlin, Ryan Newman, Rusty Wallace, Kevin Harvick, and Bobby Labonte. Now rounding out that lead group. Wasn't it just a little while ago we heard Labonte
Got 14 likes on the stream so far.
Dave, things seem to be a lot better now.
He's running a lot better. In fact, the vibration is gone. He's a little bit tied off of turn 2. But Jimmy Makar, his crew chief, said to him, maybe you just got in some dirty air, made it feel like your car was really out of sorts. They don't think it is. They think they might have not the same problem as their teammate, Tony Stewart, and he has gone back to the front.
You know, these guys keep talking about push or tight or whatever. Once again, we have an illustration to show you exactly what we're talking about. Let's go inside our race cars. We go down the corner. The green line is the preferred line. Now go inside and see what the driver.
That green line reminds me of the old EA games with the speed zone challenges.
But the car will not turn.
They would have the driving line on for you.
It goes drift up the racetrack. That's a little bit exaggerated, but that's what
They would have a red line too to stay out of.
I don't know if that's exaggerated or not here, BP. That looks about right.
So when he says tight, he's not just talking about what it's like when it's time to pick up the dinner check.
Exactly.
His wallet is closed tight.
BP buys dinner a lot. I gotta give him credit on that.
He buys dinner for you?
Yeah, all the time. You know that, Alan?
BP, we gotta talk.
Jeremy Mayfield in a 19 car driving for Ray Eminem this year. Right behind our pole sitter, Jimmy Johnson. They're back in
Man,
the
Terry about squeezed Ken's as he dropped himself out of the top. Couldn't tell who that was that passed him. Looked like he probably got back up though pretty quickly. Just lost one spot.
Way into the field. 28th place right now.
Okay, Jeff Green throwing a block.
Jeff Green and Kyle Petty in the 45 car going by Jeff
That's
Green.
incredible.
What about the 48 car, Bill? What about a pole sitter?
Well, most of the kids here today, Benny, are out of school. This 26-year-old kid is going to school today. He's learning some lessons on the track. As far as the handling of the race car, still just a little tight. I talked to Chad Knaus. He said it was tight. Then they pitted, tried to loosen it up a little bit. It was tight and getting tighter. So now they're going to try and loosen up the 48 car when rookie Jimmy Johnson pits.
You know, Jimmy Johnson's in his late 40s right now. How old is Chad Knaus?
Those pit stops are going to be important. You know,
Like, he's got to be in his...
pit lane are huge, but when you have
How much older was Chad Knaus than Jimmy Johnson in 2002?
like that, these pits are tight, and you've got to be so careful.
I'll have to look that up.
Especially so you don't hit a tire or another car.
And we saw the caution flag, and all these guys made a pit stop. We'll see a bunch of cars.
He's 51.
Green flag at the same time as well. Let's go down the pits and Matt Yoakum.
Well, Benny, just to add further on what Wally was commenting on about pit road.
I would have thought he might have been older. Jimmy's 47.
Slid right on through his pit. And what
I guess Jimmy started a little later,
number
age-wise.
17, which had the first option to moved there. If Tony was still there, there might have been some bad,
Not sure when
bad news for the 20 team. Luckily, no car was there, but anything can happen down here.
So Jimmy Johnson would have been 26. So Chad Knaus would have been 30 during Jimmy Johnson's rookie year.
Down to the slow speed you need for pit
And 30
lane
years old is
speed.
pretty young for a crew chief.
These cars are hard to slow down.
I feel like crew chiefs nowadays would like when they get to the Cup Series, I feel like they'd be in their mid-30s, mid to late 30s at starting. So being 30 years old for Chad Knaus' sake, starting the Daytona 500, that seems to me like he was pretty young. 30 years old seems very young for a crew chief on another rookie driver, and yet it worked out well. Huh? I don't think I've ever seen that before. So the helmet that guy was wearing on Kenny Schrader's crew was actually a hockey helmet. Like, it was just a standard hockey helmet.
Starts to leave his pits. He makes
wow. Oh, no.
Goes right through Ricky Rudd's pit, hitting 3 guys.
When did that happen?
3 guys. Watch this.
Oh, my gosh. Hit like 4 guys on pit road.
But luckily, all 3 of those guys are back at the racetrack pitting that 28 car this week with helmets on.
Was that in the dual race or something?
And they are getting ready for green flag pit stops.
I must have been in the duels.
Last on pit road under caution at lap 23, about 55 laps on fuel. So we ought to see the leaders coming in the next 4 or 5 laps.
In the white car there, Shauna Robinson, the leaders have just gone by her, put her lap down along with Tracy Compton.
And in this traffic the leaders are going through, Bobby Labonte's taking advantage. He's just moved up to 4th around Ryan Newman.
I think paint schemes have just always been good in NASCAR. It doesn't matter when.
Not so fast.
He was at the start-finish line last time. How about that?
They were always pretty good with designing the cars.
In the 14 car.
He mentioned that Mike Wallace was on pit road a while ago. They changed the battery on the 33 car. He's
wonder how good the fishing in the lake is.
Mike Skinner running on 7 cylinders.
I have to ask somebody. I wonder, does it cost money to go fishing on the lake during the Daytona 500 weekend? Like, would they allow it for people that are camping in the infield per se? Curious. I mean, you have to bring a boat in, and that would probably take up some extra space in the camping area, so maybe they didn't allow it. They probably didn't allow it on race weekends for that reason. Especially with the 500 selling out every year, even to this day. Just probably wouldn't be enough space. Oh, Schrader pitting this time. That's a green flag. Pit stops. Well, Schrader's pitting.
And no one comes with him.
That's tough.
His teammate Johnny Benson will come in behind. Schrader has
See, the thing is, though, Schrader was leading, so he was running 100% throttle pretty much the entire time. He had to pit now. Probably didn't think he could make another lap. Everybody else running in the draft. Drafting saves fuel. They're running part throttle because they're having to lift to keep it off the cars in front of them, manage the gas a little bit better. So they're not running 100% the whole time. Schrader ran 100% almost that entire run. He led almost every lap since the restart.
Remember, he's a little loose. That means the back end of the car, once they got away from him in the turns,
That's tough, though, that he had to come in by himself for that reason. There were a couple of the cars that pitted with him, but they were already so far behind him, he's not going to have drafting help when he comes out of the pits.
Black car on the left is the leader. Shauna Robinson's in the white car on the right, a lap down.
Marlin taking the lead. Nadu didn't even get a lap let in there.
I tell you what, she's not a lap down right now. She has 3 passing leaders with help from Sterling Marlin, and Marlin takes the lead. Here comes Ryan Newman. Rusty Wallace is in the pits, Dave.
Rusty Wallace's teammate Ryan Newman wanted to come in too, but it was too early. Ryan could run about 5 more laps than Rusty on fuel. He had no choice but to come in and see if anyone could come in.
Ryan Newman could run 5 more laps on fuel than Rusty. Seems like a lot to me.
4 tires full of fuel, wedge adjustment. He was still a tick tighter than they wanted him to be.
Boy, that's going to be tough for Rusty, especially if this pack catches him when he's by himself.
Oh yeah, they definitely will. Without a doubt.
For Schrader and Wallace, that the race stay green until everyone else has made their pit stop. If the caution comes out now, they're going to be trapped behind.
Now here comes the
Sebastian Moore, thanks for tuning in. 2001 Homestead. Oh, that was the pit road incident. Gotcha, thank you.
Can they get hooked up? Can they run together and stay in front of this pack?
Schrader's running a lot faster than Rusty. So
yeah, Schrader. That's tough for Kenny Schrader. He's doing so good too. He's going to be losing so much. Even if he doesn't go lap down for everybody pits, so he's losing so much more time. The likelihood of him cycling back to the lead isn't very likely. He's going to lose a lot of track position. Nadu wants that lap led bad. He might be pitting this time, though.
And here comes Jeff Burton.
We'll see.
Into that picture.
No, he's not pitting.
24 car up to fourth.
Tell me when Jerry Nadu.
Yep. Nadu finally led his first lap.
Rusty tried to break. And I'm impressed with Shauna Robinson in that 49 car. We saw the leaders go.
Yeah, she's holding everybody up right now.
She repassed them.
Rusty fell a lap down though too, and Shauna didn't. I don't think Shauna pitted though. I think she's on equal tires with the leaders. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think she pitted.
Jeremy Mayfield is in. They have been fighting a tight
I think she lost the lead pack in the restart.
They have not been as good as they thought they would be today.
Rusty getting his lap back. Remember, when caution comes out, they actually race back to the line at this time period. Dale Jr.'s back up there again. Go Dale. I'm just rooting for him because he blew a tire earlier in the race. Blew out the right front fender, and he's still out there. Oh my gosh!
And Shauna looks like she's out of fuel in the 49 car.
What happened there? Yeah, Shauna's out of gas.
Out of gas.
Rookie team. Costly mistake.
That's going to cost a few laps for sure.
She's going to be lucky if she gets back to pit road, honestly. If she's out of gas, she's not even halfway done with the lap. I'd be pitting right now. Just in case the caution comes out because she can't make it back to pit road. Not everybody's pitting, though.
Robbie Gordon, Kyle Petty, and Ricky Craven are leaving pit road. As Jerry Nadu, Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, and a host of others.
Yeah, that 19 car about LePage the field there. Trying to get up to speed on the bottom of the track. They almost pulled a Kevin LePage before Kevin LePage pulled a Kevin LePage.
His teammate Jeff Gordon to pit together to make sure each would have a partner. Nadu has been thrilled with the performance of his car. Jeff Gordon is on pit road. Just a little tick tight, but they don't plan a chassis adjustment. Both these cars taking 4 tires and fuel. They want to have similar stops, get out together.
Honestly, I'm not going to lie. I don't really care for that Jeff Gordon paint scheme. I'd rather have the regular flame scheme he had at this time. Personally.
And they'll beat all those guys off pit road.
Dave Marcus, has he run out of fuel?
Looks like
oh no, man, he's really. Excuse me, jeez. Apologize for that. Junior's in. Dave Marcus was even slower than what Shauna Robinson was on the back straightaway when she was out of gas.
Because we're under green flag conditions. He said it has a very, very bad push. They are going to change 4 tires.
I'm not going to act like I've never ran out of gas in a NASCAR video game in this situation before, but in real life, though, it's crazy that you've seen a couple guys run out of fuel in the middle of a green flag run like this, middle of the race, not at the end trying to stretch it to the finish. Stu Isaac, thanks for tuning in. I don't even remember Shauna Robinson racing. I don't remember her racing in this race specifically. I didn't know she qualified for the Daytona 500. I mean, there were some good drivers she beat out to make this race. Greg Biffle failed to qualify for this race. Oh, man.
They were putting fuel in to prime the carburetor. She tried to get it out. They will push it out. Meanwhile, Bobby Labonte
Bam!
is in. His car
That was their
is
sponsor.
a little bit loose. They're going to take a pound of air pressure out of the left rear tire. They will change 4 and try to send it back out of here. The 2 right side tires are on. 2 left side tires being put on now, and Labonte is gone. Matt.
Today, the 40 car of Sterling Marlin is in, as is the 88 of Dale Jarrett. They made a chassis adjustment on the 40. He's been fighting a tight condition all day.
That's a nice paint scheme right there. Both of them, actually. I really like the UPS schemes, too. I have that same UPS paint scheme over my shoulder. Yep, Dave Marcus stalled. I didn't think he was going to make it back into the pits. He had to have been rolling like that for a long time, though. He was out of gas like a lap and a half ago. He was out of gas a lap and a half ago, and the caution just now came out.
Because you know they're almost out of fuel when the pace car picks them up. If they drive up on the bank, the fuel is going to run away from the pickup, and they might run out of gas on the caution flag.
That's a big caution for Kenny Schrader, because I don't think he was going to cycle back into the lead.
He and Kurt Busch have not yet made those pit stops. And now, The interesting part is picking up the right.
No free pass given for being the first car lap down, too. Anybody who was a lap down is going to end up on the inside of the lead lap cars in the restart here.
And all those guys that had made their pit stop, they slowed down because Schrader.
Thought the UPS car was ugly?
But the pace, the leader is in turn 2, and Schrader was in turn 3, waiting for the pace car to catch him.
What can Brown do for you?
So they
don't mind my pajamas.
Catch up with pace car.
I want to get comfortable.
Schrader and the others do, so it's going to be a minute before they get the chance to come back around. But having just stopped under green, we should only see a couple of guys on pit road here, right?
Right. They'll all stay out and get their position back. Unless Dale Jr. decides to go in and put
this car is not ugly. I mean, it's not like one of my favorites of all time, but it was good enough for me to buy it because I like it. Now, I do think his quality care car is really good, too. This may not be the best Dale Jarrett paint scheme, but I thought the UPS car is pretty good. This doesn't ask what can Brown do for you on the back, though, unfortunately. I think this is a pretty clean paint scheme. Comment in the chat down below if you think this Dale Jarrett scheme is clean. I think it's pretty nice looking. The white pops on here may be better than what these graphics on non-high definition television in 2002 might have been. I always liked it.
In for service, Andy Thurman going to work on the front. His car is tight. You can see the crew member making a chassis adjustment. They also.
By the way, I like that that like squeegee stick or whatever they used to use. We need to bring that back. Who needs tear-offs anymore when we have 2002 technology? More like 1970 technology. Just bring back the squeegee. Bring back. Baby crap Brown. Oh my gosh, no! I cannot believe that this isn't universally liked. When Brandon Brown ran this paint scheme on a throwback at Darlington either last year or the year before in the Xfinity Series, I was like, yes! I always loved that paint scheme growing up. Brown looks weird. I am shocked. Dale Jarrett car's a 10 out of 10. Yeah, I didn't realize how polarizing this Dale Jarrett paint scheme was. The chat is so split. Some people really don't like it, and some people really do like it. I'm one of the ones that really do like it. And it's not just because it's a Ford either. I probably have more Chevy diecast than any others. Even though I'm a Ryan Blaney fan, a Greg Biffle fan, I always grew up, I don't care too much into the manufacturer rivalry so much as what it is. My favorite drivers always drove Ford. It's a good caution for Dale Jr. They get to fix the right front a little bit better because under green flag conditions they wouldn't have wanted to do that. Paint scheme is good. I mean, you don't have to change your prediction just for my liking. I will say I don't think TV would have done it justice in 2002. Some of the races they had high definition. He had this paint scheme in 2005, 2006. It probably popped a little bit better than what it did in 2002. I know this diecast specifically is 2002 because this is one of the more recent ones I bought. So I can remember the box saying 2002 on it. So this is the same exact car he's running in this race. Craven's a lap down. Started last. Got up there. Who else? Shauna Robinson and probably Dave Marcus, who they pushed back into the pits.
On board with the Motorcraft Ford of Elliott Sadler.
Almost halfway already.
Bumper of Dale Jarrett trying to push Jarrett to the front.
Bid for the lead. Here comes Mark Martin. And Sterling Marlin makes it 3-1.
Yeah, Martin probably pulled out a little early. And Bobby Labonte just got hung out.
The leader last time will be lucky to be 10th this time by.
Oh!
And there's nothing you can really do about it when you're in that situation. Those lines move on you.
Hey, Ricky Rodebault ran right into the back of the right rear of Labonte.
These guys start splitting you behind you, and they put you in the middle.
Well, actually, he was ninth that time.
Mark Martin's trying to hold on. Side drafting his teammate.
Jarrett is up to second. Elliott Sadler third. Dodge, Ford, and Ford. Then Mark Martin and Matt Kenseth, Rusty Wallace and Ryan Newman, Ricky Rudd, all driving Fords. So apparently the incredible shrinking spoiler has done its job. It's made the Fords competitive. Dave Marcus's car brought out that last caution, stopping on the racetrack. They have taken it behind the wall. Stacey Compton.
Dave Marcus is out of the race. Never mind.
Pushed behind the wall.
And Stacey Compton in the 14th
Stacey Compton's out.
broke the gear when he made his pit stop. When he released the clutch to go back on the racetrack, the rear gear broke. That happened 3 times in last year's Daytona 500. It might be something to think about when these guys start making those important pit stops to try to get track position later on.
And Dave Marcus's car has just been reported out of the race. We will look to follow up and hear from him as his NASCAR Winston Cup driving career is now over.
They better give Dave Marcus an interview. Pay the man his dues. Give him some respect. He was in NASCAR for a long time. 33 Daytona 500s. I think those were all consecutive starts, if I'm not mistaken, either. That is a record that will never be broken. 33 consecutive Daytona 500 starts. To race your way in that many years, too. Not that he was necessarily a lock-in, every single year. Or had to race his way in every single year. He was probably a lock, most of those years, but not all of them.
Is that Ricky? Yeah, Ricky right behind him. Okay. And he was right there, and he saw Ricky was having a run.
A lot of it depended on the owner's points from the year before for a lot of the seasons. But when he was running part-time in his career, the following year, yeah, he would have to qualify in. Same reason Jimmy Johnson kind of had. Well, it's not really the same reason because now it's a charter system. But it's going to be interesting, though, if Jimmy can make the race. I hope he does. Be good for him, good for the sport. It'd be such a 2020 Jimmy Johnson situation to not qualify for the Daytona 500 this year.
This one may take the cake. Jeff Burton said he felt something rolling around on the floorboard of his race car. This was it. Part of the time it was under the gas pedal. Some of the time it was under the brake. Some of the time it was under his foot. They had to take the window net down, make 2 stops to find out what it was. It was a roll of duct tape. Now, as far as Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes, they have
don't spoil anything in the chat.
Pop rivets and about 20 screws and a lot of bloody fingers down here. But Tony Eury
A lot
Jr.
of bloody
told me they feel like
fingers.
they have a better chance.
Put some gloves on.
This race now. Junior asked, do I have 2 noses on the car? Tony Jr. said, yeah.
That mind boggles me. So I work at a warehouse. There's a lot of people that don't wear gloves. They'll be picking up like tomato cages without the gloves on, and I like cringe. I'm like, man, how do you not like just cut the crap out of your hands all the time? Like, I have to wear gloves. Because I know if I cut my hands, if I like cut my hand on something sharp at work, I'm not going to be able to work out for like at least a week because I'm going to need that to heal. There's no way I'm going to be able to grip a bar that's got a bunch of weight on it. Like it's gonna burn terribly.
Let's go further down pit road today.
I already push myself as it is, let alone the fact I don't want to be in pain when I do it.
Pushes. They call that keying the mic. There's a microphone inside his helmet. He then talks to his crew. Well, Rusty's been doing that, but the microphone has been...
I mean, there will be people who'll be like, oh, real men don't wear gloves. No, that's false. I don't want to cut my hands, all right? That is not true. That is not me being a wimp. That is me taking care of myself. The same thing, like if I'm like working out in the yard, unless it's like super hot outside, I'll be wearing long sleeves all the time. And I cut my forearms or everything. Always wearing gloves.
If it's in that wiring harness on the steering wheel BP, that can't be fixed. Nothing they can do. Now Rusty can talk to the crew if the mic is keyed. He can talk to the crew, but unfortunately they can't.
I mean, even if I'm having to do like something on my car, not that I'm like a repairman or something, but if I, changing a tire, whatever the case, I've had to do on it, changing headlights or whatever, always got gloves on.
Yeah, because he was one of the first cars in, so his fuel
I just don't want to cut myself.
Jr. flying through the grass.
What? Whoa! Junebug!
Looks like the right rear is flat.
Another flat tire for Junebug.
He's got no brakes, he said.
Oh. No brakes.
Wow. No wonder he was flying through the grass.
No brakes for Earnhardt. Said he was flying through the grass. I didn't understand what he meant at first. I was like, I don't remember Dale Jr. flipping in this race. I don't remember that. Yeah, I saw that. Connor Daly going to try to qualify for the 500. Racing back to the caution flag.
Driver's left. The other right. I knew what I was thinking from the driver's perspective.
And there's some debris. He probably ran over his own debris, which cut his right rear down. That's what I'm assuming happened, because he was in the grass, and that's well before the grass in the tri-oval. Dale Jr. and his tire issues today.
Watch him as he knows the right rear's flat. He decides to come down pit road. He said,
no brakes coming into the pits.
You don't get in the grass at speed often and not go sideways and over.
That's where the right rear blew.
Wow.
I don't think that's what he was saying.
What a job, though. I mean, he goes down through the grass. All-road racing about 100.
Yeah, and a good job not going to pit road, knowing he was probably going to get a penalty for speeding on pit road. That, it was dangerous. He had a flat right rear tire. He could have lost control potentially on pit road. So, out of a safety perspective, probably doing the same thing.
For Dale Jr., lap 21. Cut a right front tire running second. Who did all that work repairing all that front body.
Yeah, they threw a caution.
And now, it's the rear tire.
They just raced back to the line.
And you saw him going down pit road.
There's a reason they don't do that anymore. I can't remember what New Hampshire race it was. It had to have been 2000. Look at this. He just...
Go, Dale. Go on. Keep going.
No. And the problem here, Vinny, is that they know they have a lot of damage. They're going to have to rebuild the right rear quarter panel here, and what they're going to have to do
zero brakes.
Is take it back to the garage. That's where their crash cart is.
I think when the right front... I wouldn't be surprised if when the right front blew out earlier in the race, it cut the brake line. And that's probably why he doesn't have brakes.
And the garage is about half a mile away, so they have a lot
it's that beautiful UPS paint scheme. It's not like stunning. I just want to rub it in a little bit. I mean, it was cool, but it was dangerous as all hell. But I can't remember who was involved, but there was a New Hampshire wreck where they were racing back to the line, and there was a car parked on the bottom, and guys are just going at speed. And New Hampshire's not like a really fast track, but middle of the straightaway, they're going like 120, 130 miles an hour, and there's just a parked car sitting there, and they're just dodging them. I think it might have been Dale Jarrett who was parked. Had wrecked off turn 4. And it caused another wreck because guys were trying to scatter out of the way, and then they were wrecking. And I think like the very next week they eliminated the rule. Because it was a mid-season rule change in 03. It's like all those years that happened. And there were instances like that had happened before, but it wasn't quite that, many cars that got taken out in an incident. They never changed it until then.
Tony Stewart out with an early engine failure. Dale Earnhardt Jr. cutting a tire at lap 21 while running second, the first of 2 problems.
It's crazy to me that they had the double yellow line rule, or at least the yellow line rule in the super speedways, before they even had racing back to the caution flag abolished.
So he backs up, hits the brakes. Okay, we got brakes. Okay, go ahead. And the official was walking out in front of the car. And now Junior is behind the wall. He's going to the garage area.
It has been a wild day for Dale Jr. today.
I wonder what that's all about.
The little fiery attitude there?
No, I think going to the garage.
Well, we'll follow up.
I wonder if they parked him for almost hitting the official.
Four drivers did not pit under his caution. Sterling Marlin, Ricky Rudd,
Ethan, thanks for tuning in.
I said Matt Kenseth did not pit before. He did. He got off pit road.
Bring that back.
Let's check in the garage.
Ask him for.
Oh,
there's Dave Marcus.
Dave, first off, did your problem start with an overheating problem?
Yeah, well, when the race began, we're up in the front pack. The car was great. It was driving good. It would keep up. And when I looked down at the temperature gauge going down the back straightaway, I was reading 250 degrees. And you can't do that. I mean, these Chevrolet engines are tough, but you can't sit out there and run 250 and 260 degrees. And so I told the guys I was getting temperature that I'd back out of the pack a little bit. And I thought maybe that would get some air on the nose and cool it down or roll the paper off. But that didn't happen either. So we continued to try and ride it out. And I kept pumping the accelerator pump, hoping to spray fuel in there and cool the tops of the pistons off. when that caution came out. It was a big break for us. Got in, got the paper off, got back out. Did drop the water temperature, but something was wrong. I think we scored a silver.
Yeah, I thought it was a Dale Jarrett crash.
Thanks for the memories, Dave.
Matt Hunter, Ice Demon King 92 Hammer, thanks for tuning in.
He's fallen out of the Daytona 500. Sterling Marlin is the leader. Next time by, we will be halfway through this race.
Halfway. Oh! That did not take long at all.
See some damage.
The heck happened back there?
His automobile looks like he might have hit the wall.
Oh, he definitely hit the wall.
He may have a little bit of damage on the left rear quarter.
And they're racing back.
You get a replay, see if somebody got into him.
It's just weird to see. I'm so accustomed to now. Caution comes out, field is like slowed down by the time they get to the next camera cut. They cut back here, they're still climbing speed.
And Sterling's not giving him a break, which he is not obligated to do.
We go over this all the time, and I don't think should do.
Fourth caution of the race. Just went back up to speed on the restart, and this happened in turn 1.
He blow a tire? Oh, he got turned.
Looks like the Kenny Walsh gets in the back of
Kenny.
Yeah, you know,
oh, he didn't hit the wall. Okay, never mind.
Before Kenny hit it first,
I thought he hit the wall, and then when they showed him on the camera live when he was coming down the track, I thought he was coming off the wall. I was wrong. Did not hit the wall. Yeah, Kenny Walsh just turned him.
Tires flat too, isn't it? Maybe that was the cause.
I think the right front was probably flat from him sliding around. I could be wrong. The top 09's in the top 10 quietly.
The 44th Daytona Energy.
Good run for Todd.
By Viagra. Ask your doctor.
Viagra.
Viagra is right for you. By Ford Trucks, the official truck of NASCAR is built Ford tough. By Sprint TCS, the clear alternative to cellular. And by Best Buy. For the latest technology, turn on the phone at Best Buy.
Just past the halfway point of the Daytona 500, and under caution for the 4th time after Brett Boline got bumped and spun around in turn number 2. Matt Yoakum.
And Alan, down here in the Dale Earnhardt Jr. garage here, he used all speed weeks. You can see his Budweiser team is hard at work repairing the suspension to the Bud Chevrolet. In fact, Jr. even got out some tools. He was helping them bang on the fender. Then he got out of the way and let some other guys get underneath there like Tony Erie Jr. But obviously a major, major disappointment for this team. They felt like they had a great shot to win this event. A lot of people picked the 8 car to win. But Junior, you can see in the background, talking to Jeff Clark, the engine tuner, he can still put a smile on this bad luck here today.
Park was hurt, Kenny was filling in. Yep,
Jeff Burton on the
that was the case.
Jackman Brian Perry had the
I think it was from his Pocono crash in the summer the year before that he was still recovering from, if I'm not mistaken.
Broken. They're not quite sure. He was taken to the infield care center to have x-rays done, but they think he's going to be just fine. He said, I feel good. It just hurt a lot when it happened.
Hey, Marty, what was that again?
Had a bad day on the track and a bad day on pit road.
And the car got ran over by his foot?
Yeah, well, the car ran over his foot. I wonder why you guys were laughing while I'm talking about some poor guy's broken foot.
Speaking of a bad day on pit road, hey, by the way, we did ask Dale
Busted
Earnhardt
Marty
Jr.
Snyder's chops.
As Matt Yoakum says, Dale Earnhardt Jr. refused, said he was not talking right now.
His foot got ran over by his car. His foot ran over the car?
Just past halfway in the Daytona 500. Been a pretty good race. 10 different
Car got ran over by his foot. Is that what he said?
Michael Waltrip led a lot of the early going. Ken Schrader then led a pretty significant chunk. Sterling Marlin, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Jerry Nader,
More cautions already.
Jeff Burton, Kurt Busch, and John Andretti. Others who have led.
Feels like there's been more than 14 lead changes because we've seen some chaotic 3-wide racing quite a bit on these restarts.
Dave Marcus, who went out just moments ago. Sterling Marlin is the leader. Ricky Rudd is second. Mark Martin third. Jeff Gordon fourth. And then Matt Kenseth in fifth. Followed by Kurt Busch, Ryan Newman, Robbie Gordon, Ward Burton. Todd Bodine is up into the top 10. Set to go back on the restart. Lap down cars to the inside. Ricky Craven, Shauna Robinson, Robert Presley. The bubbles over the lead lap cars as we go back racing.
trouble getting his car up to speed. And under NASCAR rules, the guy that on the outside has to cross that start-finish line first.
Craven started 43rd in the race and pushed his way up into the top 15 in the opening laps, but then got caught a lap down in a series of green flag pit stops. When the caution came out right at the tail end, he wasn't able to get back in front of the leader before the pace car picked up the field.
Flap cars on the bottom, just not fast enough. Don't have the numbers either. Craven was really close to clearing Mark Martin. He just couldn't quite do it.
Back in 11th.
No problem there, Patty. Thanks for tuning back in. Made the cold weather tolerable. I'd say the same for myself here, too. This is the last Throwback Thursday for the off-season. There will be no Throwback Thursday next week with the dual races at Daytona. But the following week, we'll have Throwback Thursday for Auto Club, which is where the Cup Series will be at that weekend. So we'll watch an old Auto Club race. You guys will get to vote throughout the course of the season every Monday in the community tab for what race that we will watch that upcoming week.
Ricky runs when they get up to speed just to sit on Sterling's bumper and see who will follow them and try and break away from the pack behind them.
Because wasn't it Dale Jarrett that was talking right at the, was it Dale or Ricky that said they weren't sure how their cars would lead the pack, that they were good behind the car, but they didn't think their cars were strong enough to lead the pack.
And I was just thinking, 3 Fords have led today, but only one when it wasn't in that exchange of green flag pit stops, and that was Matt Kenseth, and he only led a couple of laps. So they have not been out in front under full green conditions yet.
And that white car on the front, on the bottom of the racetrack in front of Rusty Wallace is Robert Presley.
Robert Presley? Is he a lap down?
In 35th spot. Matt Kenseth.
35th.
One of those Matts.
Well, it's one of the Matts, Allen. And down here in the junior garage, they have fixed the 8 car. And Tony Uri Jr., the car chief, what was all the damage?
Well, the first thing we had a tire blow out today. I don't know what caused that. I mean, we haven't got anything really.
Oh, Ricky Craven just about stuffed Todd Bodine in the wall.
Then the second time he went through the grass, something snapped in the rear, and I think the right rear tire blowed that time for some odd reason.
Yikes.
And the first one we cut something, that one I don't know. They took the brake caliper off of the housing. And NASCAR got some kind of strange rule where if you don't have brakes, you can't run. Well, the car had brakes, and I was trying to prove to the official, but he's kind of stubborn anyway. So we'll just go back out there and get normal points and go on to Rockingham, and hopefully we'll have a better time at Rockingham we did last year.
Well, they just bled the brakes, and he's getting ready to back the 8 car out of the garage area, Allen.
NASCAR's got a weird rule where if you don't have brakes, you can't race. I mean, it seems like a legitimate rule, like a reasonable rule to have. I feel like it does make sense that you would need brakes to be allowed to race. I mean, granted they race back to the start-finish line here, but if they have a massive crash, the big one happens in front of you, you have 0 brakes and you're just on the gas, like well behind it, there's going to be a very, very hard collision in there somewhere for both you and some other driver. If you hit them in the wrong spot, especially with these cars, this time, yeah, that'd be not so good. Tony Uri Jr. taking shots at NASCAR, though, regardless of the fact he doesn't like the rule.
Earnhardt Jr. 1-2 finish at Daytona. And we saw Michael go down, the speed go up to 190 miles per hour going down in turn 1. And look how quickly it goes down to 180. Kevin Harvick, that 29 car, outside pole sitter, trying to push Michael Walter by on board with Kevin Harvick.
Ward Burton in the 22, Todd Bodine in the 66.
Yeah, those guys are in the high lane. They don't want to be there because they've got a lap car in front of them. They'd like to get beat around that car of Robert Presley as soon as he could.
I mean, Presley's making some moves, though.
They're not going to get a whole lot of help if you got a lap car in the way.
Especially Newman leads them up there. She just moved up. Might be moving back down, though. I think if Rusty could have went with him, he probably would have. The problem is Rusty still had the lap car on his outside.
He did not get off turn 2 well at all. And you see as he lost momentum off the corner, those guys going by him on the outside.
Smart move by Bodine, pulling down to the bottom when he had the separation from the bottom.
Radio to his crew said, "Hey guys, it's alive again. Let's go back at it. Watch this." He was in a hurry.
Oh, looked like Kyle Busch in Darlington a couple years ago.
I think he's about out of patience today, do you think?
Well, he goes in wanting to win the race so badly, and as they all do, all 43 wanted to win. And when something happens like that, they get very frustrated.
Good run for Michael Waltrip to the inside of Ryan.
Michael Waltrip kind of been non-existent ever since Dale Jr. blew the tire that first time. He's getting back up there, though. Kind of out of nowhere.
Matt Kenseth trying to push Jeff Gordon back. Look at the Roush freight train there. 6, 17, and 97.
Jeff Gordon getting hung out.
Running together.
Nobody lined up at that 24 car.
You and your mom say hi.
No friends in that little deal.
Thanks for your mom watching.
You know, you beat people often enough. When you need their help, you'll find you don't get it as much.
This is the second time this has happened to him in this race. Remember, he started third but couldn't find any friends at the beginning of the race, and that's when he and Johnson fell backwards. Same thing happening again, guys.
Oh, comes off right up against that wall on turn 2.
Good day for Roush so far.
Right now, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 24th.
Sterling Marlin, a couple of times a winner of the Daytona 500. He did it in back-to-back years, 1994 and 95. He's the leader at 113 of 200 laps. You're watching the Daytona 500 on NBC. The 44th Daytona 500 coming your way live on NBC from the Daytona International Speedway, approaching 300 miles in the Great American Race. At NBCSports.com, you can check out a special subsection, in-depth coverage of today's race and NASCAR's new season. BP's mailbag is in there. It's got the hottest topics surrounding today's race, and Wally been doing a little writing too, I hear.
Yes, I have.
Is it any good?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay.
I've had a lot of help.
Want to see how they edited you, huh? That's at NBCSports.com, and if you want to see the encore presentation of the Daytona 500, tomorrow at noon Eastern and Pacific on TNT.
These guys in single file are just trying so desperate to get away from the rest of that pack. And you've got 3 guys at the head of this deal that are some of the best drafters there are in the super speedway. I mean, Sterling, Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, these guys normally don't make any mistakes. And they are going to just stay in line and just trying to get away from that pack.
Michael Waltrip trying to work.
Kevin Harvick working his way back up there, too.
Defending 500 winners showing in 7th spot.
I don't think I've seen him at the very front of the field since that contact during the first pit stop under the first caution. Him and Mike Skinner got together.
Not too bad. This is pretty good. Saw the Busch race yesterday, later on in the day, and boy, that sun comes right up over there by them grandstands BP, and it was very difficult to see out those cars.
The problem with this shot, all those cars in front of you. That's what's wrong with this shot. Michael Waltrip wants to see nothing but blue sky and black racetrack and nothing in front of him. Right now, Michael Waltrip is in 7th position.
You can see he's moved up steadily since the restart. And again, the field beginning to sort out single file as we put a few laps in on this set of tires.
You know, we've seen all day that the leader is very difficult to pass. When Shauna Robinson was in front of these cars, the pace dropped off 2 or 3 miles per hour, down to 181, 182, and they still couldn't pass. And a lot of the guys think one reason is because of the negative air pressure in the carburetor. You see the air goes up across the car, and there is the cowl opening where the air goes in for the carburetor. But as you get behind the car, that airflow leaves that other car and misses the cowl, misses the windshield. You lose the positive air pressure going inside, it becomes a negative, and therefore robs you of a great deal of horsepower.
That was a good visual.
And we have not seen very many passes for the lead.
Great job breaking that down.
Laps of races this week. Will we see some today?
And I think that the Shauna Robinson thing.
Rusty trying to make some passes on the outside.
And I think we've seen, like in the 125s, they're going to have to make a plan and gang up on
Sterling Marlin's getting a little too far out of. Oh, that's because he was drafting off Dale Jr.
5 or 6 left in it because it takes that long to get things.
You gonna block him? Oh yeah, it's gonna slow Sterling down quite a bit here. Here we go. Junior stays out in front of the 40. This is going to be interesting when the 6 and the 17 get close behind. You got 3 Roush cars. Oh, they're cutting the... No! I wanted to see how that was going to work. Dang.
The Daytona 500 continuing at the Daytona International Speedway with Sterling Marlin out in
I guess
front.
Marlin's still leading. Looks like he got out in front of Dale Jr. too.
Benny Parsons here with NBC's first live broadcast of the 500. Been a pretty exciting race so far, BP.
Yes, it has. You see, we all got the memo for the Great American Race. Blue, white, and red.
Very good. Very good. Wally, we've seen, I think, more competition, more lead changes than we expected to coming into the race.
Yeah, we did. I mean, I talked about patience at the start, which I think we have seen a lot of patience.
Junior's keeping up with them. Now he's got brakes. Way too many laps down.
It's going to be a heck of a finish.
What we are seeing right here is the intensity picking up a lot.
Everybody's trying to get position here, although we still have a lot of laps left. You've got to be in that lead group, that top 6 or 7 or 8 cars if you're going to have a shot to win. That's where everybody's trying to get right now, in that lead little group.
And just a moment ago, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car, was back on the racetrack right in front of Michael Waltrip, and it looked like those guys were going to run up to the front. But Junior made it by the 17 car. Kenseth, Michael was not able to, and you see they're still back there side by side, although Michael has the drafting help from Jeff Gordon. Now it looks like they're going to be able to get by.
Yeah, but see, you see the 8 car keeps moving high, and I know he's trying to follow that draft, but that's not helping Michael. The only way he's going to help Michael is if he stays down in front of Michael so Michael can pick up on his draft. But if Dale moves up the racetrack like he did there, it's not really going to help him.
Michael Waltrip to 3rd. Let's take you through the field, get some updates on teams' races and their strategy from here to the finish. We start with the leaders, Sterling Marlin. Here's Matt Yoakum.
Right now, Alan, I talked to Lee McCall, Sterling
Another
Marlin's
lapper.
crew chief. Marlin trying to get another Daytona 500 win, but right now they're on a gas
14
conservation
car.
run. He's also just saving the car, knowing there's a lot of race left in this Daytona 500
That's Stacey Compton.
today.
And Matt, the Mark Martin is
14.
running very well. In fact, he stayed out on the last opportunity to pit. I checked with his crew chief, Ben Leslie.
Yep.
I said, why'd you stay out?
41st.
Everything okay? You can make it on one
Dave
more
Blaney's
stop.
up to
No
40th.
comment. Just a
He's outlasted
wry
a few
smile
drivers.
From Ben Leslie. They're doing very well. Matt?
Dave, I spoke to Slugger Labby, Michael Waltrip's crew chief. He said first they had an equalized
no safety
tire.
barrier
He says
yet.
the car, they loosened up Michael. He says the car is very good now. He is very comfortable with this 15 car today.
Matt, in the last round of pit stops, Matt Kenseth, Mark Martin's teammate, came in and changed only 2 right side tires. They believed they had fixed the car a little bit, and the last quotation from Matt was not bad at all. Matt, back to you.
Dave, an update on the 97 car, Kurt Busch.
It's our stat from the season. No last lap pass. The winner's closest was Gordon versus Wallace Bristol Knight. Yeah, that was with a few laps to go, like 5 to go or so, and Gordon got around him. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
They took out 2 tires in the last stop. No adjustments, Bill.
Well, Matt, everything going well so far.
The entire season, too.
In fact, it's basically the kind of race
36 races, that's tough to do.
Veteran, working his way toward the front, hoping to be around at the end and make his move then. I just talked to his crew chief, Robbie Loomis. He said everything's good. Hoping to
I feel like every time they show Jeff Gordon on screen, he's like in the middle of getting hung out to dry. Kevin Harvick went with him. Kevin Harvick was a big friend to Jeff Gordon there. Gordon was probably going to end up going backwards if Harvick didn't make that move. Instead, he ended up gaining position out of it, and he gets back in
He
line.
lost about 15 spots on the backstretch. Came across the start-finish line last lap by up in 11th. And right now he's back in 24th.
My guess is that the car got loose, pushed, or someone got in front of me. All he had to do was back off the throttle, probably. And when that happens, see the last lap speed around 179. All you got to do
Most
is
hated
back off
driver
the
is
throttle a little bit.
Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart.
So hard to accelerate back up speed.
Yeah, Chastain's one of those guys, you either love him or you hate him. Most of the people love him because of the Hail Melon move at Martinsville, but before that, it seemed like more people were starting to grow tired of him up until that point. That like resurrected the fans he was losing. I'm going to Phoenix that next week after the championship, and just being at races before that all season. Like, Chastain had probably the second most cheers behind Chase Elliott, I kid you not. And it was pretty close, too, at least that day in Phoenix during the driver intros. So, he gained a lot of fans that day within the sport. A lot of the diehards that were at Phoenix the following week.
Looked like Ricky Rudd's car bottomed out badly down the middle of 1 and 2.
Just radioed
Seth Wilkins, thanks for tuning in.
Lost the handle big time. It's the second time it's happened to him in about 10 laps, Benny. A few laps ago, he radioed in with the car just slid up the track. That's why he fell out behind Sterling Marlin. He got the field back.
Yeah, don't spoil the finish or anything of this race in the result, or in the chat, not the results.
And he's got help with Jeff Gordon right behind him.
Oh yeah, Chastain's super talented.
Rusty Wallace on the outside in the 2.
And Jeff pushes and tries his best to get by, and Harvick gets through.
70 to go. It's gotten racy all of a sudden. Once Harvick pulled out a line to work with Gordon, it stacked up pretty quickly behind them too.
Someone was on the outside of him. He did not come up and pin him against that.
Got on from there. Except for the top 4 or 5, they're just checking out.
20 laps away from what would be final pit stops if the race stays under the green flag. 130 of 200 laps complete. Sterling Marlin leads.
70 to go.
Tonight, NBC's coverage of the Olympic Winter Games continues. You'll see the presentation of that disputed gold medal in figure skating to Soleil and Peltier. That's part of NBC's coverage of the Winter Olympic Games. Should be a great.
Oh, that's exactly what I want to see after the NASCAR race is over. Turn on some figure skating. I wonder how much overlap of people watching NASCAR were watching figure skating later that night. I mean, honestly, because it was the Olympics, there might have actually been quite a few people watching it.
That was a Daytona 500. He said that is by far
Such a random
thing that ever happened to him.
crossover.
His racing career was winning the Daytona 500.
Second-generation driver out of Columbia,
Sounds like
Tennessee.
something that would happen on ESPN, the Ocho.
For many years. Now his son Stedman starting to make his way up the NASCAR ranks.
Now you see this first pack here. I'll guarantee you these guys are they're all waiting each other.
Mike Skinner going to go lap down.
Here's one of them. Here's Mr. Johnson saying, okay, that means stay in line. He's telling the guy behind him and front of him, let's just stay in line and go, go, go. If you put your right hand up and you wave left to right, that means something big is happening in front of you, and it's not good. If you put your hand up and just like in a stopping motion, your right hand, that's telling the guy behind you, hey, pay attention.
Philip Moore, thanks for tuning in.
Just chill out a minute. And there's another hand motion that I can't really explain, but we've seen it a lot on the freeways.
I think we get what you mean. Anybody going to pay attention to a rookie like Johnson giving hand signals?
No. Bobby Labonte,
obviously not.
He looked over there and he saw that and said, are you crazy?
Get off my tail, rookie.
Dodge, Ford, Chevrolet, Ford. The top 5 right now. Michael Waltrip's been a big loser in these last couple of laps. Sliding back in that inside lane.
Mark Martin quietly in second.
We talked about the incredible shrinking spoiler in our pre-race show. The adjustments now.
If that doesn't sum up his career in that sentence, I don't know what does.
This week. They're doing pretty well right now. Though again,
It took me a second to realize that after I made that statement.
If they get lined up.
Then once I realized what I said, it like a bell just went off in my head. I was like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Mark Martin in second.
Because I think they'll all stick together.
Fitting.
That's against the world kind of a thing.
Yes.
And again, Ford has led today, but most of the time it was on either an exchange of green flag pit stops or just after a caution flag pit stop when they got off pit road. We haven't seen a Ford under the green pull out and take the lead. Like if Mark Martin were to pull out past Sterling Marlin's Dodge here. Now, we should be about 10 laps away from final pit stops. Bill Weber down on
Martin.
about 10 laps or so.
Marlin's got to be getting pretty close to being able to get to the most laps led. He's led quite a few. Kenny Schrader led a lot right after that first restart, up until the green flag pit stops right around lap 65, lap 70. Oh man, we've got trouble. A couple lap cars got together. They were both a lap down.
How about that pit strategy? Oh, that's going to make it interesting, isn't it?
Oh, man.
That completely changes things.
Fifth yellow flag of the Daytona 500 as Sterling Marlin brings the field back to the caution. Nobody able to get a lap back from the leader. All right, that's 138. 62 to go. Stop with 61 to go. Yeah.
Well, he definitely had contact underneath him.
Away from the turn two
the donut right on the left side of the four.
The Jack Roush cars might be in pretty good shape.
They're up. If they're not up, come on in.
Because the 99 car and the 97 were the last cars to pit before. Our crack pit reporters, I'm sure, can find out how many laps they ran.
Let's take a look at what happened to put us under caution off turn two.
Who done it? Whose fault was it? Oh, Shauna just got loose.
Shauna got loose.
Just got loose, yeah, and took Mike Skinner with her. And the problem with these cars on a racetrack like this, if you get the cars real close to each other going through the banking, the car on the bottom gets the air taken off its spoiler. See right there? She was real close to the 4 car. What happens when you're that close, fender to fender, there's no air on your spoiler if you're on the bottom, and you loop it. Unfortunately, it took Mike with her.
She probably was walking up the racetrack, too, out of control, and then ended up making contact, which eventually caused her to lose complete control and ended up spinning out. It's my guess.
The right front tire has gone flat.
There's no reason why they should have been that close to each other at that point. That was my own justification for it.
They just like sandpaper that grinds a hole right through the tire into the air.
Yeah, there's a lot of asphalt back there where they were sliding.
We've seen it be hard to pass for the lead today. Who gets off
pit
road first on these crucial stops? Dave.
Mark Martin's car a little bit tight. He slid past his marks. They have to push him back. This will cost time. They will be just at their fuel window if they pack it full of fuel.
There you go, Mark.
He is a little bit tight. They'll make a wedge and tire pressure.
He missed the mark.
No adjustments on the 40 car of Sterling Marlin, who was the leader. They feel like Andy.
And that's a slow stop for Mark Martin. 20, 21, 22, 23. Oh my gosh, 23.4. Yeah, he's going to lose a lot of spots. He is not going to be in second anymore. Far from it. Yeah, somebody out in the grass.
He's
got a little damage on the front of his car. Looked like it. Oh man, somebody. Kyle Petty almost running into Jerry Nadeau.
They had to push his car back. That cost him time. He was a little bit tight. They adjusted for that. But again, costly time wasted on pit lane trying to avoid another car.
Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not done either of those two things. Live commentary on the race weekends for the Truck Xfinity Cup Series. Got some video game stuff during the weekend every Thursday, Throwback Thursdays. We watch some old NASCAR races. It's your place to be.
The 44th Daytona 500 is brought to you by Pontiac. Can you handle a Pontiac Grand Prix? By Kellogg's Cereals, the official breakfast food of NASCAR. By the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. And by Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer.
At Daytona, the field coming to the 1 to go signal, and I am shocked nobody's coming in to top off the fuel tank.
I am too. I don't know that it's going to make any difference. I don't know that 2 laps under the caution flag is going to make any difference on making it.
Well, some of the guys in the back of the field think it is. Terry Labonte, Jerry Nadeau.
So it sounds like we've got a fuel mileage situation going on right now.
All of the leaders have stayed out.
There's no way these guys are going to go over 50 laps on fuel. I mean, let's be honest.
Kurt Busch, 2 of the Roush cars, ran 61 laps on a tank of fuel.
Did anybody think they were going to be... Somebody went 62 laps on fuel. Okay, maybe never mind.
It's just so difficult to pass. A lot of these guys are willing to take the gamble that there will be another caution, or that A, they'll all make it, or B, they all will not. Some of the Fords seem to think they can make it. Some of the Chevys and the Pontiacs aren't too sure. Matt?
Bill, that's exactly
Guarantee you that they'll be petty next time they get a caution.
Kevin Harvick. I talked to Kevin Hamlin, the crew chief.
At least you don't have to worry about going into overtime or past a scheduled distance in this NASCAR era either. It wasn't even a thought, so.
Well, you know, the Roush cars historically get the best fuel mileage, so they're sitting.
0-2 Sterling Jr. Shame that he couldn't.
And the only thing that's going to hurt them if there's another caution
Open door
flag,
for Jamie Mack.
If there's another caution flag, they'll have to stop.
Make a name for himself. Yeah, that's true.
Because they are so much, the cars are so much better.
That's crazy what a wormhole that is, though. Yeah, Marlin was competing for the championship, and then he broke a vertebrae in his neck after a crash at Kansas late in the season. He was leading points for a good chunk of the year, too. But he was still in the championship hunt at that time.
Well, we pitted at
Well, the wormhole that opens up, though, is that if he never gets hurt,
our fuel mileage has gotten a
you
little
know,
bit better.
what happens to Jamie McMurray?
I think we'll be okay.
All right,
He probably goes to the 42 car full-time the next year anyway, because that's what ended up happening. Well, it might not have even been the next year, though, because he didn't end up winning. You know, he won that Cup race, and they probably rushed him to Cup because he won that Cup race. You know, that could have happened. He might have been in, you know, the next year. I'm not sure what the rumor mill might have been at that time in 2002 going into 2003.
Is 5th. Rest of the top 10 are Bill Elliott, Ward Burton, Rusty Wallace, Michael Waltrip, and Ricky Rudd.
But also, you never know if he would have had a shot to go back to Chip Ganassi Racing after he left Roush.
Is that going to make a difference?
Which in return, he wouldn't have won a Daytona 500 or a Brickyard 400 either. But him winning that race early on with Chip Ganassi Racing and having a pretty good relationship with Chip as well, that he was able to get that ride back. Basically the same ride back with Earnhardt Ganassi in 2010 after he left Roush in 2009. So.
You really wanted to be inside that 55-lap window to be sure you could make it. In fact, I asked crew chiefs if you
So theoretically speaking, if Sterling Marlin didn't get hurt, Jamie McMurray may have never won the Daytona 500.
So it's going to be a real gamble for some of these guys coming down to the checkers if it stays green.
Yeah, and that's the big if. That's the gamble that a lot of the crew chiefs are betting on, that it won't stay green to the finish.
Oh man, big shot.
Harvick has.
He's got a great run on Presley.
Presley's a lap down, I think. Yep.
Robbie Loomis, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, looking on, plotting history.
I'm not gonna lie, so far this race isn't as good as I remembered it. It's been good at times.
You don't have a chance when you're a lap down. I mean, basically.
But this hasn't been quite as competitive as some of the other Daytona 500s we've watched. Like 1999 was one of my favorites that we've watched so far going back. That race.
I don't think so. Nope.
I think it's still to come.
I think it is still to come.
2010 was up there too. That was a great race.
The move of the 40 crew.
Those have probably been my two favorites, honestly, so far that we've rewatched. 2007's pretty close for the finish, but from start to finish. Those are definitely the top three so far.
He's on the move, but the biggest concern down in this 29 pit alley.
David Robinson, thanks for tuning in.
Observation, Jerry Haley, Danny Lawrence, and Kevin Hamlin have poured over the computer, then walked away, walked back, looked at it again, walked away because it still didn't have the answer they wanted. How much do you think 1/10 of a gallon would cost you today, and how much do you think it would be worth?
1/10 of a gallon could cost them
$1 million.
At least $750,000.
Winner share of today's race, 1.3.
Well, I mean, no spoilers for this race.
But these drivers aren't thinking about $1.3 million.
And we've talked about,
They're
like,
thinking about winning the Daytona 500.
you know, some 2002 stuff throughout the course of the race.
It's
That's
hard to
one
conserve fuel. I
thing.
mean, especially in this deal, you got to keep your foot down. If you start cracking off the throttle to save fuel, you got about 40 guys are going to pass you.
Elliott Sadler back in 5th place. He's got a terrific.
Still, Elliott's quietly in 6th.
Starting in 41st position, Dave.
And remember, he finished 3rd here in last July, Alan, so that 21 car is running very, very well. I talked to Pat Trice and his crew chief. They're a one-car team. I said,
Thanks for tuning in.
People work with you because Pat told me they needed help. Well, he says,
Don't spoil the race, guys.
Our motors. Those are the Roush cars, and they've been running very well.
Elliott Sadler in the top 5.
About Elliott Sadler finishing 3rd in the Pepsi 400. You know, adrenaline is an amazing thing.
I didn't know where he finishes.
As he came down to the checkered flag, he said, going in turn 3.
Leave it at that.
He
He kind of hasn't been up there, though, until just now after those pit stops. Must have had a really fast stop.
Turn 3 and shook all the way to the checkered flag.
Wow. Not like he's not an excitable guy anyway.
This place can do it to you.
Bill Elliott, haven't talked much about him. 6th place for that 9 car. 2-time Daytona 500 winner. Bill, solid run.
Solid run and a 14.5-second pit stop last time. Came in 12th and moved to the front with the help of that pit stop. Was a little bit tight, made the adjustment, but the thing here is the 9 car may be half a lap shy on fuel.
You can make up half a lap in the draft. One more caution.
Of the 44th Daytona 500, Sterling Marlin is out in front, seeking a 3rd win in the Great American Race.
Well, we really like the styling and the personal safety.
Why are they showing this ad?
5-star safety rating is awesome, but... Well, how about a test drive?
Oh, that's why. I was like, wait a minute.
Bust us out there, Sammy.
Boom! Oh man, somebody took a shot in the door right at the end of that.
Back at Daytona, a massive accident down in turn 1 is
That
claimed
fireball.
at least 15 cars. It started up toward the front of the field. You see the carnage scattered in the corner.
And there it is.
Matt Kenseth, Johnny Benson, Ricky Rudd was in it. Oh, look at that.
Dale Jr.
Kenny
involved,
Wallace,
of course.
Andretti, Casey Atwood.
He had such a bad race.
Is that Jeff Gordon?
Terrible luck
I
for
think so. I
Earnhardt
think
today.
Jeff Gordon. I think that Kevin Harvick spun. I think that Jeff Gordon was able to get underneath him. I don't know that for sure. Kenny Wallace.
Heavy impact to the front of the car for John Andretti.
Todd Bodines' car there, just barely visible on the left of the screen.
Looks like everybody's window nets are dropped.
Yeah, Gordon made it through.
Matthew Dordo Bruno, thanks for tuning in. The big one is out.
What a scene.
Kurt Busch in it.
Casey Atwood climbing out.
Good news. Look at his car. All torn up. At the tracks where they use the restricted engine package, Daytona and Talladega, all the
I didn't realize there was a car parked there next to Earnhardt that whole
Harvick is out
time.
of his car. They talk about the big one, the wreck that sweeps up a large number of cars. It's just happened 3/4 of the way through the race. Jerry Nadeau damaged in it. He's just driven back around.
N4S video, thanks for tuning in.
Bobby Hamilton. See the Hans device he's getting off his neck, the head and neck restraint.
Still wonder if that Dale Jarrett Ford commercial actually ever, like they re-aired the commercial. I don't know.
Hamilton is torn up this week.
I'm sure it was probably on commercials like all throughout the course of the season, maybe.
My car's on fire. How about come on over? Put it out.
Sixth caution of the 500, and it was a big one. Let's take a look at what happened. There's Kenny Wallace.
Now the car, yep.
By Jeff Gordon and the Kevin Harvick.
Oh, that's a terrible block.
Turn 1.
And there we were
Terrible block by Harvick caused it.
And that looks like what happened.
And the first 4 or 5 cars get through, and then about the 7th or 8th.
Oof.
I don't know about the.
Harvick got T-boned.
The 43 car of Andretti.
By the 43, that's where that. Jeez, there's nowhere to go. Look at all the smoke.
Right, the track just becomes completely.
That car's on fire. Amazing how quickly all the smoke builds up.
Well, that's kind of a little bit afterwards, but
Look at all the smoke.
back up.
How did Ward Burton get through that? Wow.
And all those guards on the inside. And then the hole closed up.
Add Jeremy Mayfield to the list of those involved, the 19 car.
Somebody went down in the grass to miss it. Good move on them. That was before all the cars started to slide down into the grass, too.
Goes down. Kevin Harvick goes to put on the block. Drives down on top of Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, Gordon was already there. Harvick just threw a terrible block and turned himself off the front of the 24. That's what caused it.
Or if he tried to get out, he didn't get out in time. Yeah, one of the two.
Andretti, a hard lick. You know, same thing happened in the qualifying race between Tony Stewart.
That Schrader caught up in it too? Yep.
Oh, Schrader got involved.
Folks, just watch this and listen as you're part of the big one.
That was a hard hit into the wall, though.
Off board with Jeff Gordon. We see him. All right, he goes down, tries to get on the inside.
Hey,
Harvick comes
he
down.
blocked the outside, went to the bottom, and then he made one too many blocks. I mean, we see that even to this day, causing big ones at Daytona, Talladega. Guys go up to block the first move, and then the car in second still has the run, so takes it to the bottom, and you try to make that second move, and that's where it doesn't work. You can make one block, you can't make two.
See smoke, he slows down. You can't see anything.
Oh, who was that got whiplashed? It's a hard hit. That was Ricky Rudd. Oh, man, and then he took another shot late.
Okay, Jeff Gordon's on pit road. Missed pit road last time. He didn't think it would be open by the time they told him it was going to be open. He was past the
Well, they're
entrance.
definitely going to make enough
Robbie
fuel
Lewis said,
now.
I want you to come in this time. We're going to go out about 15.
That's not an issue anymore.
Took
a lot of cars out, too. More cars for my man Dave Blaney to get by, though. 14, 15 laps down.
There was nowhere for him to go, and that's what created the wreck.
Unless he was involved in that, too.
Got 11 cars.
I'd like to think he was far enough behind it.
List of those in the
That
accident.
didn't happen. Johnson getting the wreck? I don't think so. I think he stayed out of it.
Who got damage and continued away.
You know, as someone said, you know, they changed the rules trying to make it safer. And again,
Don't
I
quote
hope
me on
everyone
that,
is
though.
okay, but we still had the big one. And of all so many of the
We'll
drivers
get that
have
list
said,
eventually.
Cars don't cause the wrecks. It's drivers that cause the big wrecks by making contact.
Absolutely right, PP. I talked about that earlier. It's just, you know, the
Zigged
cars
when he
are
should have
safe. You're right.
zagged.
They're the head and neck restraints. We have a lot more safety.
Actually, he
cars
zigged,
around the
and then
drivers,
he
but
zagged, which caused the
make
wreck.
mistakes, you get in crashes like that.
Should have just
We were talking
zigged.
about give and take. There was too much take.
Stopped
there.
after he zigged. The
Ken
zagging
Schrader
was
took
too
his car
much.
to the garage. You see the remains of Richard Petty's Dodge that John Andretti was driving. Bobby Hamilton.
This is young Kevin Harvick, though, too. This is his first Daytona 500.
And the cleanup
Not running
continues.
in it
Dale
the year
Earnhardt
before,
Jr.
second
involved
season.
in his third incident of the day.
So it's practically
He got
a
caught
rookie
up in the
error.
middle of a big one that happened down in turns 1 and 2.
How quickly can't see. Already pushing the car in front of you. Everybody's scattering. You're just holding your line, hoping for the best, really. And somewhere along the line, he somehow ended up down in the grass. He didn't really have a hard collision anywhere in there. Just got swept up in it all.
After the big one, 16 cars.
Wow,
damaged in
16.
an accident. And the inside of turn 1 at Daytona looks
Definitely
like
looked like there were a lot of cars in it. I didn't realize there was that many.
It all started when 24 Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick, the 20.
I mean, Gordon
make
was-
contact. There you see Harvick gets bumped from behind by
He was
Jeff
already on
Gordon.
the yellow
He got
line,
out
and
to
even the
block Jeff.
contact ended up knocking Gordon down below the yellow line a little bit. Just way too low. That was such a hard impact there for John Andretti.
There's no place for anyone to go.
Oh,
except
Kansas got
into
turned
the
in it.
wreck, and that's where they go.
Didn't realize that till just
earlier
now.
about the little mirrors guys were putting on the roll bar on their
Kenny
left side
Wallace
of the
took a
car.
shot from somebody in there. I couldn't tell who that was.
Rules in this kind of racing.
That hit
You
him.
got to do it. I mean, that's what you
I think I saw Dave Blaney in it too.
Here we got on board with Kevin Harvick.
Gosh darn it.
Down the block, Jeff just catches him in the left rear.
From that angle, it looked like Gordon turned him, but that wasn't the case. We know that from other angles we've seen. Man, that is a ride. So defenseless at that point. Bang! Man, he took the 19 and the 43 took 2 hard shots. 43 pounded the 29. 29 was spinning like a top after that. It got pounded by the 19 of Atwood. And then Atwood pounded the 43 when he was coming back down the track after pounding the 29. All 3 of those cars hit hard like 2 or 3 times.
The 17th car to that, Mike Wallace, I just saw in that view, is in that wreck too. 17 cars. Fortunately, all of the drivers out of their cars, and they're all okay. 46 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Caution at the 44th Daytona 500 after a 17-car accident down in turns 1 and 2.
Say the track, don't like the Charlotte roll. 2018.
I mean, he just totally tried to block me. I wasn't even
Interesting.
trying to get up there. That damn 97, the wild man, and I'm trying to block him. You know, and the 29 had a run, and he started coming down.
Yeah, that wasn't Gordon's fault at all. I don't put any blame on Jeff Gordon there.
Well, there you have it. I mean, we talked about the blocking.
I mean, the only thing you could say, he could have lifted, but he had such a big run, and he made a good move. Harvick just made a bad move trying to block one too many times. That was on Harvick.
And how much blocking is going on out there?
I really couldn't tell what happened, Marty. We've been up front there, and we came in on that last pit stop. And I had a little miscommunication. I couldn't find the pits like I needed to, so we came back out. We were about 10th when the wreck happened. And couldn't see what happened. Somebody had turned sideways, hit the fence, come back down. I drove to the bottom trying to miss it, and he hit me in the right rear quarter panel, turned my head on in the fence, and it was pretty much over after that. I really couldn't tell what happened. It was pretty wild out there, pretty typical restricted play racing.
A lot of blocking going on.
Yeah, too much probably, yeah.
All right, Dave Burns has Kenny Wallace.
And Kenny Wallace has walked out of the Care Center. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. You know, first of all, I just want to thank Pennzoil and DI, you know, but I guess everybody wants to know what the hell happened, right?
Yes, please.
Had a big wreck, and, you know, it's Daytona and Talladega. You know, same thing happened last year. 50 laps ago, we were all going for it, and I was shooting the 3 wide up the middle, and they just, I guess Harvick and Gordon got together.
Did you see the fire in your car?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, I was just going low, hoping I could miss Harvick, but I T-boned him, and I was bursting into flames. I told my wife it was a fear to crash. It's a bad deal, I know it is, but what are you going to do? Little E's in there laughing. He says the first big crash he's ever been through in his life. I'm not happy. He's trying to cheer me up, but I think the only injury I had was to my helmet, just pulling the plug. There's more famous drivers behind me. Get some of them.
Well, and that will be Kevin Harvick walking out here in just a second. Thanks, Kenny. We're glad that he is okay. And we'll
Kenny Wallace is a character.
All right, Dave. Got the ranks of the contenders thinned considerably by that crash. Now just
Put a microphone in front of that man's face, he'll make that interview entertaining 11 times out of 10.
Back here at Daytona, we have caught up with Kevin Harvick, who was in
Here's Harvick. I want to hear what Harvick has to say about this.
Kevin, looked like
Is he going to own up to it?
What happened?
Well, I mean, there's 50 laps to go in the Daytona 500, and everybody's trying to fight for everything they've gotten. And I thought there was enough room, and I must have just come down and caught the nose of Gordon's car. But after that, it pretty much all hell broke loose.
You hit the wall hard, going backwards. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. That was the least of the licks. I think there was 4 or 5 more after that. So, you know, I just hate it for this Goodwrench team. I mean, we had a chance to win the Daytona 500, and now we got a pile of junk.
What would you do next time? Same thing. Did you get a clear call from your spotter to come down?
No, I mean, it was obviously, I don't know if everything was happening so fast, but there was no clear, there was no anything. It was just, you know, it was just back and forth, and there was a lot of things happening. So I looked in the mirror and thought there was enough room, and he couldn't hit me very far up on the bumper, and it was just enough. I mean, you're pretty much on the edge out of control, and it's just close racing.
In the end, your fault or Jeff's?
Well, right now I want to pinch his neck off, but I don't know whose fault it is. I haven't seen it yet.
All right, he's going to look at the tape. He'll get a definitive answer when he sees the tape roll. Alan?
That was a bit of a trap question there from Dave Burns. I'm sorry for my gosh. Craven blocking like he's trying to win the race. He's a lap down. We just saw a wreck because somebody blocked terribly. Harvick did own up to it at the very beginning of his interview. I'm going to say this, and I've said it on live commentary streams in the past when like NBC has covered races. I don't like Dave Burns as a I mean, he does a great job with the pit reporting, but when he interviews drivers, I don't like it when he interviews drivers. Because he asks some trap questions, like, all the time. Like, Bubba Wallace was getting on Marty Snyder about him fishing around. Marty Snyder's not fishing, but I feel like if Dave Burns gave that interview, he would have been fishing around for something. Trying to get that soundbite, which I guess, you know, that's somewhat your job as an interviewer, but at the same time, like,
Not too many guys have passed Sterling today.
I'm curious to know what other drivers think about, like, Dave Burns interviewing them versus, like, Marty Snyder or Dylan Welch or Kim Kuhn on NBC.
That's the first part.
I'm curious. They're not going to just come out and throw them under the bus because they're professional, but he does seem like he tries to instigate stuff in his interviews when he's asking questions to drivers in that situation. Like normal driver interviews, like pre-race and stuff, not so much, but I've noticed that over the years during crash interviews that he just keeps asking, and like he's like digging and digging and digging. Like the interview should be over, and he's trying to prolong it by trying to get, you know, something out of Harvick out of it there. I mean, there's interviewers across other sports that do it too, but I've noticed in NASCAR, Dave Burns kind of tends to be the worst on it.
Jeff Green there in the 30 car in 7th position.
I'm sure he's a nice guy outside of it. It stinks though too, because when you're talking, you know, into a mic, people can get a perceived judgment. I'm not judging his character necessarily. It's just, you know, that critique I have on him. Like I said, he does a great job when he's pit reporting, you know, and even with interviews outside of it. I thought he did a great job calling the live commentary for Darlington last year too. I thought he did a great job with that.
Elliott Sadler to block. Lap cars mixed in there.
Just when he's interviewing drivers after, you know, on-track situations like that, he takes it too far sometimes. By the way, the racing has been nuts since the restart. Talking about Dave Burns and his interviewing skills, we've got Kurt Busch taking the lead. Elliott Sadler up to second. Michael Waltrip back up to P3. The only DEI car left in the field. Jeff Green right behind him too, out of nowhere.
Elliott Sadler to go with him. Matt Yoakum.
Well, Al, if you recall back following the season finale at New Hampshire, the biggest shock in the offseason was when owner Jack Roush decided to swap the crews on the 6 and the 97. Veteran Jimmy Finney came over to become the crew chief for Kurt Busch. He told me his biggest agenda for this year in the first 4 races was just to finish. Dig Kurt out of that huge 31st and calling the points that he got himself into last year. He's also trying to keep him calm. He's looking at NXT earlier on. One thing, though, Mark Martin did not want his car, which was not completed when Jimmy was going to the 97, so Jimmy brought it with him. He says he's got a few things on there he was trying for this year. It's brand new, and they hope to make that debut, and auspicious want to take it to victory lane. Remember, this 97 team has never won a Winston Cup race.
We talked at the top of our broadcast on the
they'll win more than just a race here in a couple seasons. Win the entire championship.
Kurt Busch in the 97 in his second 500 start. Elliott Sadler in the 21 in his third.
And
the defending 500 winner, Michael Waltrip.
Kevin Braveheart, Chad Little was in that car for a while before Kurt Busch.
Waltrip, bobbing and weaving. Got the nose to the outside of Sadler for second.
Oh man, they're getting racy. There's not many of them left, but they're getting racy. Waltrip to second, slides down in front of Elliott Sadler.
At the very beginning of the show about give and take, and they would give and take early. Right now, there is no give. It's all take.
3 by 3 by 3. By 3 by 3.
These guys are trying to get everything they can out.
Not going to be many cars left. Racing like this, still 36 laps to go. Got like almost 100 miles left.
Everybody's trying to be right now.
Jeff Gordon in the middle, 3 wide, trying to work his way back to the front.
Jeff Burton there with him, 99 car. Here comes Mark Martin in the 6th.
Wow, that is a very tight gap between Martin, Burton, and Newman. Great move by Mark, though.
3 times a 500 winner. He's on the move late.
Now this is, we'll see what happens, BP, but I think this is where the experience guys.
Oh my gosh, Mark almost made contact with Sterling, I think it was.
Sterling, Marlin, they're used to running with each other. I think they'll start fighting each other. On the other hand, the other guys will line up.
Big push on the outside.
Jarrett trying to pick up a track from behind. The third car is Jeff Green.
Robert Presley getting a shot. I think he's a lap down. Marlin gave him a big push.
Looking ahead from Robbie Gordon's car.
Goes up and bumps the back of the 30 car.
Jesus. It's a hornet's nest.
When these cars are in a straight line, you can't afford to do it.
There's been a lot of three-wide racing today.
Look at this racing. 3 deep.
I mean, whoever's left in this race is basically 3 wide, except for the top 3. They're catching a lap car too. Who's that, Dale Jr.?
Clearly the third.
Oh, okay, he's pulling. Yeah, it is Jr. How is that car still running? All the issues he's had. Good thing he stayed on the apron.
Michael with the push from Jarrett.
I think Kurt's about ready to get a move put on him because I think wherever Michael goes, Dale Jarrett's going to go with him.
Kurt Busch is getting set up, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is.
You said it a minute ago, Wally. The older guys are going to work together. You've got Michael Waltrip and Dale Jarrett. Many years' experience at this racetrack. Lined up behind Kurt Busch in his second.
Oh yeah, it's going to be the run on the back straightaway. Waltrip backed up quite a bit in the middle of the corner.
Because he wants to get by that car of Kurt Busch as well.
He also wants to stay with the Chevys. That's something they've been talking about on the radio. Gordon definitely wants the Chevys.
Knowing young Kurt Busch, he was probably mirror driving big time right now.
In a Chevy, Gordon, and then behind them, Jeff Green. Then Robbie Gordon. But even though it looks like Michael's setting up Kurt Busch, Jeff won't pass for the lead.
Oh, Sadler making a move. He's going to split Jarrett up. Gordon going with him.
Dale Jarrett getting shuffled back.
And Jarrett said, man, now how did this happen? That's not part of the equation.
Mark Martin. Running 5th is Mark.
Here comes Sterling.
And there are a lot of cars out of the race, too. Harvick at 28th on back is out.
Jarrett loses a couple more spots.
And they're trying to get by that 97 car, BP, but just like you said, it's hard to pass.
Michael might have a run now, coming off turn 4. No. I thought he had the nose under the 97 car. Couldn't quite make it.
Rusty Wallace squeezing in front of Robbie Gordon.
Trying to figure out how far back Sterling Marlin dropped. He lost the lead. Oh my gosh. That was a big block by Rusty. On Robbie Gordon.
I think that was Jeff Gordon's radio. Said they're racing like it's the last lap.
Hey, track position is everything. It may be the last lap if you can get front.
Now, Kurt Busch did not stop on that caution. Michael Waltrip has fresher tires. Much of a difference?
I always say tires make a difference. Especially if as warm as it is today, I think it will make a difference. But still, it's all your buddies who's going to make the biggest difference on this deal. You pull out.
Oh, Sterling trying to make a move on Mark, but Jeff Green went to the top. Rusty and Robbie.
You know, here's the worst part. It seems like it's you can pass back around second or third. It's the lead that's so hard to get by.
Jeff Green making some headway on the outside, though. Beautiful AOL paint scheme. That paint scheme is better than the Dale Jarrett paint scheme we talked about earlier. Oh my gosh. Oh! So Mark had, I don't know who that was underneath him. Was it Ryan Newman? I think it was Newman. Newman got underneath him and he didn't realize he was there. He crowded Newman and then realized, oh shoot, Newman's there, and then went high and knocked the 30 into the wall. That split those guys up quite a bit. Oh, now Jimmy got loose.
I think he had a tire going down there.
He's good. He's still in it. Oh!
Keeps it off the wall.
Okay, yeah, he's good.
Left rear tires flat.
He'll be racing back to the line.
7th one of the Daytona 500. He sets a critical decision in the hands of the crew chiefs. Do I stop?
To pit or not to pit?
No way. No one is going to give up track position now. No one.
Look at the lap cars trying to race by the lead lap cars, and then Elliott Sadler cuts them off.
The start-finish line, no one will succeed. And we go under the yellow flag once again.
Careful, Jimmy.
Something was loose before that. I just thought it was the air. Something's up on her back this thing.
Yeah, Jimmy, the left rear tire's flat.
Yeah, you can watch here. I was watching right through here, right here on the bottom. You see his cars just starts getting a little bit sideways. He was losing the left rear tire. And right about here,
okay.
it really was probably, that's where it dropped down on the inner liner.
I saw him wiggle before that. I thought maybe he got hooked, but yeah, that was probably what happened. Had the left rear going down. Yeah, because he wasn't getting touched. And they weren't in the corner yet. They just veered straight right.
And somehow Jeff Green keeps it under control.
Jeff Green got put in the wall by Mark Martin and then about got turned by Jimmy Johnson. Two good saves on back-to-back laps for Green to stay in the race. Stay in the lead lap. Yeah, you can kind of hear it a little bit right before he veered too.
No, don't worry, he's hanging on. You have to tell him that.
I did that. Go on board with Bill Elliott and watch this. Right now, Bill Elliott is saying that Jeff Green is the greatest race car driver in the world. Saving that thing.
He didn't come up in front of him.
Might have just seen our move of the race. 2 of them from Jeff Green.
Yeah, really.
Should have crashed twice. All right, will anybody come? BP says no. Wally says no.
Oh!
Michael Waltrip. Michael Waltrip, the second place.
That was a very late decision to pit.
Elliott Sadler comes in.
There's quite a few cars that are pitting right now.
Most of the cars came in, Marty.
Well, Michael Waltrip was tight, so they wanted 4 tires.
Very split. Cars pitting versus not pitting. There's enough laps to get back up there. Probably got to restart with a little over 20 to go still.
This is a gamble because a lot of cars stayed out, Dave Burns.
The 21 car of Elliott.
Tires matter at bumpy Daytona too. And there's a lot of guys out of the race, so I mean, Waltrip was the first into the pits. He still might restart right around 15th or so. So he's got a fast enough car, I'd like to believe, to still have a shot to get up there for at least a chance to get at him.
He said his car was very loose. He feels like it felt like he hit some debris.
He's lucky that more cars pitted behind him, because he very easily could be restarting outside the top, 20 around 25th.
Marlin and Ryan Newman stayed out. Others coming on to pit road under the caution for this crash.
He barely kept it off the outside wall too when he came back across the track.
Here's our Pepsi race recap. What's happened so far in the Daytona 500? Just 2 laps in, one of the favorites to win, Tony Stewart. Engine broken, day done.
And then Dale Earnhardt loses the right front tire. He gets back on the racetrack, gets involved in a crash later.
This is Brett Bodine, lap 101, just at the halfway point of the race, getting tagged and spun. He gets away with it okay.
And then Shauna Robinson in 49 and Mike Skinner make contact off turn 2.
Big story of the day, Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon tangle racing for second. By the time it's done, 18 cars are involved.
18? I thought they said 16 earlier.
All the drivers okay, but it started because of
a massive pile up.
Harvick trying to defend his turf on Gordon. They both wanted the same spot at racetrack. Cleanup continues here at Daytona. We'll come back to the restart in a minute.
I just feel like a lot of Earnhardt fans in the grandstands are probably like, oh, there goes Gordon wrecking another Childress car. I can see that. That was probably the judgment. Wouldn't have been a fair judgment.
First 4 on the track, and that left-hand lane did not stop.
Marlin stayed out, get a little bit of that track position back. He's up to 3rd. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Kurt Busch still holding on. now. He's getting out there.
Jeff Gordon's laying back. He's trying to get him a run off that second
Way
corner.
too far out there.
Oh, and Jarrett almost.
Robert Presley, you had the rear wheels off the ground, just like you talked about earlier. BP and all over him.
That was Presley in the white car behind Ricky Clayman. Making some contact. Here comes
Craven
Jeff.
slides up in front of Jeff. That cut Jeff's momentum down quite a bit. That's going to help Kurt keep the lead. Oh, baby. He made 2 blocks, and usually that doesn't work. No, it didn't work. Okay, yeah, he got to the outside. Somebody. I thought I saw somebody smoking at the back there.
The veterans stick together. Shuffle Kurt Busch out of the top spot. Gordon takes the point.
Oh, 3x3. It's amazing, like almost every restart they get to like 3x3 almost all the way through the pack. Doesn't matter how many cars are left.
He's got it in a battle right now with Ryan Newman for third.
Newman out of nowhere up to P3. And Kurt Busch is getting hung out right now. He's going to get split. He's going to be in the middle 3 wide before long. Well, no, he gets to the outside right in front of Rusty, I think.
Haven't talked about Ward much all day.
Jeff Burton, rather. His
Started
teammate.
19th. He's run kind of mid-pack for a lot of the event. Missed the wreck. That helped.
Top 5 single file. Breaking away.
Now, in the 125-mile qualifying race that Jeff Gordon was in on Thursday, he got the lead on the first lap. No one could pass him. He spent a lot of the first 3 quarters of this race struggling with an ill-handling car. He's out in front now. Is it going to be enough? Mark Martin there. Last car in that 5-car breakaway. Never won here at Daytona.
Man, there's not many cars on the lead lap. Presley 19th is a lap down.
39th place today. Good race for 6th.
And Dave Blaney's 25th. He might end up with a really good finish out of this. He might get a top 15 anyway. I didn't think that was going to happen. I mean, he's like 15 laps down, though, so all the cars that are still in this race right now, he's probably not going to finish ahead of. Plus, we were getting like another big wreck like in the next 5 laps. Oh, man, they tried right there. Might have been contact between Waltrip and Jarrett.
That's my spot.
See, a lot of those guys back there on fresher tires, they get single file. They're going to run the top 5 down. Problem is, they got somebody on older tires leading this pack, and that's Kurt Busch. I think Sadler stayed out, too. He's right behind him. Robbie Gordon, oh my gosh, Robbie Gordon.
Oh my goodness, Robbie Gordon had a great run and tried to drive on the inside of Rusty Wallace. Wisely, once again,
If there was no out of bounds, he would have taken the apron into turn 1. Knowing Robbie, I feel like he would have done that.
I guarantee you, he was frustrated those couple laps. He's got a good car, stuck in the middle. You need to get in that high line or low line.
Waltrip will leave those guys up there if he can get. Top 5 are slipping away.
Just tuning in, it's been a very exciting race so far. 18 lead changes among 11 drivers. Caution flag has waved on 7 different occasions. The big story was a multi-car wreck involving 18
19 to go.
drivers at the 3/4 mark of this event.
Gordon leading.
Out in front, trying to win the 500 for a 3rd time. Sterling Marlin right behind him in the 40 car. Ditto trying to win the Great American Race for a 3rd time. Behind him, they are frantically scrambling to catch.
Yeah, they're not staying very organized back there.
Got to stay in line if they're going to catch that lead group, BP. Guys are all scattered out side by side, and that's exactly what those top 5 cars want to see in their mirror.
These guys are all trying to get themselves in position, but in trying to get themselves in position, they get farther away from the leader.
Let's check with some of the crew chiefs in the lead cars.
I didn't realize Jeff Bodine was still in it. He's in 12th.
The leader for Jeff Gordon. Your car's been tight all day. Now you're out front.
Yeah, 17 cars on the lead lap.
Well, you know, we don't know. It's just Jeff's a great drafter, and he's up front right where he wants to be. We've got a long way to go. We just got to see what happens here.
Did you learn enough in the qualifying race to help you in the...
Learned a lot, and right now we're just all kind of holding our breath. Pit crew's done a great job all day getting him out front there, and we're just going to see what happens.
The defending Winston Cup champions, they'd like to start 2002 with a win in the Daytona 500. To Matt Yoakum.
Bill, Lee McCall, Sterling Marlin's crew chief. You didn't pit to take on fresh tires. How bad is that going to hurt, or is your car better on older tires?
Yeah, our car's pretty good right now. We were a little bit better on old tires, got the car freed up, so, you know, we were good on fuel mileage, so we wanted to stay out and hopefully, you know, gain some track position, because, you know, track position's pretty tough right now, and, you know, we're wanting to set pat right now and try to break away from the second group.
Yeah, that second group is really catching them quick.
Lee McCall trying to win his first 500. Sterling
Oh, they have already caught him.
Marty.
Kurt Busch was the 6th place car.
I'm
I'm surprised at how quick they caught him, honestly.
Can he pass 2 more cars?
I don't know about that yet, but we're real happy.
I knew they could get him. I didn't think they were going to catch him that quickly, though.
If we got something for him at the end, we'll try it, but we'll just ride him right now.
Inexperience behind the wheel, but on the radio, experience. Former Daytona 500 winner Buddy Baker is his spotter, along with his car owner, Roger.
The fact that rookie Ryan Newman is up there in 3rd this week,
The new crew chief for Mark
pretty
Martin has been
impressive.
studying his monitor like a chessboard. All right, you gave him 2 right side tires. Does he have a move he can make?
Well, you know, I don't know. It's a talented Mark has. I'm sure he's got something up his sleeve. What it is, I wouldn't have a clue. I'd just like to take the time to thank all the hard work that everybody at Roush Racing with Viagra Ford Taurus has done. This week and a half has been a little bit of a struggle, and everybody's pulled together. And hopefully we can come out of this with a real good run.
Well, they're going to watch, and about all they can do is wait. The only thing he's told them in the last few laps on the radio, what lap he's on. Alan?
Ward Burton, also in the top 5, running 4th. Bill Davis Racing, Dodge.
The lap car's going to get in the way.
This race on several occasions.
Hey, Sadler saw that lap car on the bottom, thought he could catch some draft. It might work.
Elliott Sadler trying to make a move on Mark Martin.
Once those cars on the bottom lane move down,
And Ward Burton's getting the move.
now Ward's making a move. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is where things are going to start to maybe shake up a little bit. They're not waiting around to the last lap. I always hate when they do that when they're single file. When they wait till the very final lap. Like, if you're in 6th, 7th, 8th, you have to go with, like, 4 or 5 laps left. Like, you can't go that late. And if you got to go with, like, 5, 6, 7 laps left if you're, like, 10th or worse. Especially in the Daytona 500, I wouldn't be content with 10th. I want to win.
Somebody who made the gamble to come on to pit road under that last caution was.
I mean, I get you want to make it to the finish of the race, but
He's all the way back in 14th place.
I'm not saying go out there and wreck the field. Just
How about Ward Burton, Matt?
go out
I'll tell you
there.
what, Alan, if you watch Tommy Baldwin Jr. down here, each lap it's like he's almost
At least make some moves that get you in the best position to try and win.
I asked him about 60 laps
Newman's going to be put 3 wide middle
Are
now.
you guys okay? Because they were
He might. I think Mark lifted. Yeah, Mark lifted.
We learned our lesson.
He cut Ryan Newman a lot of slack there.
We were crashed out running 4th, so we knew just to save our stuff until the end, because that's where all the big money takes place.
Look at Jeffrey Bodine in the all-9 car. The 1986 winner of the 500, who many thought's career ended in a vicious crash here at Daytona back in 2000. Only got 5 races this season that he's going to run in this car, and he has shown he can still get the job done.
What are they talking about, Jeff Bodine?
By James Finch, and after the Budweiser
Yeah.
shootout, they dyno tested, chassis dyno tested a lot of the cars, and James said, "Hey, how about putting my
Yeah, Jeff Bodine's up to 6th right now.
The 09 car had more power than any of them."
I know who's going to get the underdog of the race, by the way, so that's why I haven't mentioned it yet.
Here comes Michael Waltrip trying to get back into it.
Michael's got to make his move. Like, he's trying everything he can to make his move now. He needs to
Usually I try to crown one.
He's going to have a shot at winning this race again.
Rusty Wallace drives on the inside of the 97 of Kurt Busch.
It's Michael Waltrip.
That's Michael Waltrip. I'm sorry, Michael Waltrip.
Yep.
That Napa thing looks like the Northern Light to me every time I see it. Sorry.
Defending 500 winner. Trying to rally back. Got a lot of work to do, and not a lot of time to do it. Robbie Gordon behind him in the Richard Childress 31.
Lee Cruz is starting.
Got a modified out there too. That guy's way off the pace. I don't know who that is. They definitely need to pull it in the garage. Junior does too, though. Yeah, he seemed off the pace. This is why we have the damaged vehicle policy clock now.
10 to go when they come back around.
So those cars aren't just running out there half speed.
Like I said earlier, BP, what do you think? They're going to have to start trying to make moves here with at least 4 to go, don't you?
Oh, yeah, they can't wait till the last lap because Jeff Gordon...
Especially a track like this. Last thing you want to see.
And the last time by, Jeff Gordon ran a speed actually faster than the pole speed.
10 to go this time by.
48.41. The pole position was 48.43 seconds.
Now, here's where you got the guys making deals. Sterling Marlin, I'm sure, is trying to find out what Ward Burton wants to do. And if Ward Burton will go with Sterling, if he pulls out and makes the move on Jeff Gordon, and so on back and so on back. Everybody's trying to figure out right now who's going to go with who. Crew chiefs are talking to other crew chiefs, and spotters are talking to other spotters.
Got Gordon and Marlin going for the third 500.
Go over to the spotter of that 22-car Ward Burton, see if he'll go with me if I pull out.
Oh, there goes Robbie.
Caution is out.
We've got a spinner.
Gordon was 10th, last lap. Here comes Jeff Gordon. Back to the caution flag.
Now we will have a single file restart too.
And we'll have a restart inside the final 10 laps.
And that's what
Here we go.
Want to see. Remember, in 2000,
I've seen some chaotic restarts. I know what's coming next, but guarantee you we'll see another.
Passed him with 4 or 5 laps to go to win the Daytona 500. Jeff Gordon is saying, Robbie Gordon, why did you have to crash and bring out the caution flag?
Jeff and Robbie, of course, not related.
You can tell that by New Hampshire race last year.
Yeah, they were the ones that were fighting it out with fenders at the end of the last race of 2001. Now, nobody.
Nobody's coming. Boy, they blew it. We blew it on that last time. Looks like, you remember I talked about earlier?
Contact between Rusty and
each other in the banking.
Robbie.
It makes the car on the bottom loose, and I think that's what happened.
It looked like there was definitely contact
there.
there.
Beside Rusty Wallace, there was not enough air on the back of that car to push the car.
Probably lost the car leading up to the contact.
And looped it.
Watch this. He goes in the corner. Rusty Wallace is on the outside. Now listen to this. Listen to the engine.
Oh, I don't know. It looked like Rusty just moved down. I mean, Robbie could have given him more room. I think Robbie was probably trying to side draft the 2 a little bit, but it looked like the 2 might have moved down just a hair. And he was just trying to make the corner. It wasn't like the 2 was trying to crowd him. If anything, the 31 kind of crowded the 2 a little much, which forced the 2 to not really, he bobbled just a bit, and he didn't even bobble. He just kind of shifted his line through the bumps just enough that led to the contact.
And having your eyes closed.
Looked like that's what spun Robbie Gordon around.
97 cars in.
I guess they decided at 4 tires that they're going to need 4 tires to try to make a run to the front.
Go ahead, Sean. No, John, you got a helmet?
Matt?
And they are going to take on 4 fresh tires. Remember back in the Pepsi 400, back in the mid-'80s, Alan, Bobby Allison pulled the same move late in the going. About 10 laps ago, he came in for fresh tires and won the thing. And Jimmy Finnick, who won this event with Bobby Allison, remembers that. So they had nothing to lose. Alan?
Damage on the right front, maybe? Yeah, put some tape on it. Probably why they pitted. Couldn't have been that much. They were still in the top 10, I think.
one race
Not
has come
anymore.
down to what will be a final, frantic 6-lap sprint to the checkered flag.
Oh boy.
Jeff Gordon leads. Sterling Marlin is second. Both two-time Daytona 500 winners. But they've got a hungry pack behind them who've never won it before. Ward Burton and Elliott Sadler.
They going green this time?
Then more experience. The 86 winner, Jeff Bodine, in fifth. And
By the way, this is the nuttiest part of the race right here. Yeah, pace car's pulling off. This is going to get real nutty real quick for anybody that has never watched this race before. This is a very 2020s NASCAR-esque restart. Wrecked, and then Gordon gets turned. Oh my gosh. Every time I see this, it's like they wrecked further back, caution's out, then Gordon gets turned while leading on the restart. Now they're racing back to the caution flag. If I will say though, if this was the finish of the race, this would be absolutely nuts. I wish this was the actual finish. I got chills watching this just because. I mean, this may be it.
6 cars sprinting toward the caution flag. Marlin inside.
They got nuts quickly. It went from like, yeah, we got 6 to go to, oh man, this is it. This might be it.
2 Dodges, drag racing back to the caution flag. Who's going to get there first?
Marlin by a nose.
I think what happened was Sterling Marlin went down to go underneath Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon went to put the block on, and he went across the nose of Sterling Marlin's car, and that's what spun him out.
The race is not over. They're going to red flag the event. They're going to stop the field, restart the race, and try and settle it.
And Terry Labonte, a lot of damage to the nose of that car. And with Sterling, can he last a couple laps under the green?
I don't think so. I honestly don't think he would have been able to last.
Jeff Gordon on pit road. He may not be.
That was a lot of smoke coming out of the right front. Poor, I mean, I feel for Gordon. I'd have to go back and watch that. I don't know if he pulled a Harvick and like tried to block, or if the. I thought the 40 turned him. I'd have to see the replays again. I wish that was the finish of the race, though, when they came across the start-finish line to get the caution flag. That was so close between Marlin and Burton.
So he's going to have to go to the end of the line on the restart. We'll double-check that to be sure, but the red flag with the gold cross signaling pit road is closed is out. There it is.
14 cars on the lead lap and red flag coming out.
Hey, Jeff, they're stopped back there, so be careful coming off too.
The red flag is out over the Daytona 500 with 4.5 laps to go.
But who did all this crashing on the backstretch off turn 2? See the debris off turn 2?
I think that was pieces still probably coming off of cars from the wreck on the
wreck on the
straightaway.
front stretch. I got you.
Wow. That may even.
I mean, Sterling hung back so much there that, I mean, you know, I didn't have a choice but to slow down there. And he had a run on me and I blocked him, you know.
Oh, okay.
Got myself turned.
So Jeff blaming himself on that one.
Jeff Gordon's explanation. Take a look at what happened all over the place.
Well, here's what we're talking about. This is so key on this restart. Sterling was laying back. Now, all these guys back here are jamming up because some of these guys laid back before the restart.
They bottlenecked so quickly. Rusty Wallace's rear tires were off the ground with the 5 underneath him.
Wallace is involved.
Watch Waltrip almost go by the pace
Oh
car.
my gosh, I forgot about that.
Car being pushed on pit road.
He almost hit the pace car.
Pace car gassed it right there at the last
Hey, Sean Robinson was backing up on pit road too.
One more look.
Good thing he wasn't at speed. He was able to get the car to slow up.
And then Mark Martin runs in the back of Michael Waltrip and.
Now watch here, Sterling Marlin goes underneath the Jeff. Jeff goes down, tries to run the black block.
It almost looked like the 40 moved up.
Marlin was below that yellow line, wasn't he? That's out of bounds. Drivers were told in the drive.
It looked like Marlin was below the yellow line and then came up into Gordon. That's what it looked like to me. I don't know if Gordon blocked him there, but it looked like he was below the yellow line and realized, oh shoot, I got to get up, and then like came up and just turned him.
What a miss.
On board with Bill Elliott.
Yeah, let's see here. That was a shot. It's tough to tell from that angle. We need an aerial shot. Gotta start it. Here we go. We need an aerial shot.
Watch the yellow line at the bottom of the track. See if Sterling Marlin goes below that yellow line.
All right, let's watch.
Here. If you go below
So the 40 got into him. He went to pull out a line, and he ended up getting into Gordon. Marlin is well below the yellow line here. It looks like Gordon's holding.
Inside of Gordon.
I don't know. It looks like he's moving up. It looks like Sterling Marlin, he made contact with Gordon initially on the restart. That was accidental contact. It looked like when he tried to pull out a line, he pulled out a little too late, nudged the 24, and then the 40 ended up below the yellow line. And when he was below the yellow line, he ended up just turning to get back up above it and hooked him. It didn't look to me like Gordon was moving down, blocking him, and then turned himself like Harvick did on Gordon earlier. It didn't look like that.
The NASCAR officials are seeing
to
the
me.
same pictures we are, so they'll make a decision.
And we'll wait to see what that decision is.
I think another problem he's got is that right rear, or that right front tire is rubbing pretty hard on that fender, so it may not make a difference.
That's John Darby, the guy in the blue shirt. He's the new Winston Cup director.
And the man in the blue sport coat right of the screen with the dark glasses is David Hoots. He is the race director. He's the referee, basically. His call, ball or strike.
It actually already happened, Stu. This whole situation was nutty.
Wondering how that right front damage looks.
So he wrecked Jeff Gordon, and then he gets out of the car trying to...
Look at the right front fender.
There he goes.
You can't do that.
You can't work on your car under the red flag. That's the NASCAR rule.
You can't even get out of your car then get back in it.
Matt?
I mean, the rules are now you get out of your car, you're done. Like, you can't just, like...
How is it?
You can't even get out of your car.
We don't know yet. We think it's revving a little bit, but we'll just have to see when Sterling comes around, and hopefully it's okay. I don't know what happened out there, but it's just been an awesome day for the Coors Light race team and everybody at Chip Ganassi Racing. All the guys back at the shop give us a great car, and guys had great pit stops today. So every how it comes out, we had a good speed week.
Sterling looked at it. What did he say?
They wouldn't let him look at it, so I don't know. I don't know how bad it is. We just have to. Let's see. Is that we might have to come in. We don't know yet.
Hey, Matt, tell Lee that they wouldn't let him pull it out. They let him look at it. They wouldn't let him pull it out.
Lee, they let him look at it, but they wouldn't let him pull it out because you know that's against the rules in the red flag condition.
Yeah, I guess.
Good answer.
I don't know. Again, it's just been a great day for the whole organization. Hopefully he can get it out enough.
Hopefully he can get it out. But again, you're not allowed to work on the car during a red flag condition.
That's right. So, a couple of things that we'll wait to hear from NASCAR on. Sterling Marlin below the line.
Watch Sterling jump out of the car here.
And is he working on his car under the red flag?
So comical that the guy, one of the officials, gets out of the pace car. It's like, hey, get back in the car. What are you doing? Now he's looking at it, see what he did. What were you doing?
Well, we have seen our share of twists and turns over the years in the Daytona 500, but this
that whole situation from the restart.
I mean, we've had all kinds of things happen here in this last...
that whole turn of events.
You see the 33 car up there, Mike Wallace. He told me, Andy Peter told him...
Between the guys wrecking in the middle of the pack on the restart as they're getting green. Didn't even get to the start-finish line. You got a big wreck. And then you go like 200 feet further. Jeff Gordon gets turned by Sterling Marlin. And then they race back to the caution flag. Photo finish. Marlin was ahead. But then they ended up
You
deciding
see the cars there.
that they were going to have a red flag on the backstretch because there's no overtime at this time, so that way they have one more attempt at a restart. And under the red flag, Sterling Marlin, to add on to the chaoticness that already happened before the caution, before the red flag, he decides to get out of his car and try to pull the fender out. And
Well, I mean, you're not supposed to be below the yellow line, and Jeff wasn't below the yellow line and got spun out.
And the other one is, he clearly was pulling on that fender on the backstretch. Clearly.
yeah, Marlin had 2 no-nos there.
Boy, John, this is a tough. We see Mike Helton there, the president of NASCAR, on the phone, talking to someone.
It's Mike just on the left of the screen. I hear Jeopardy music playing somewhere. The referees in race control.
Talk about getting thrown in the fire, huh, John Darby?
Man, oh man, the first race, and look at how tough, what a tough call he's got to make.
Another look at it from Jeff Gordon's onboard camera.
Yeah, there's the bump. He tried to pull out a line.
See Sterling clearly below the yellow line, but the right sides never go all the way below it.
Then I think he tried to come back up the track, and he ended up hooking Gordon.
Here, he advances his position after Gordon spins.
Tough day for Hendrick Motorsports, I'll tell you that much.
I mean, that might be what they're
Terry Labonte, Jimmy Johnson were wrecked, and Gordon gets spun while leading. Under caution. Oh my gosh. This is the restart that would totally happen in this year's Daytona 500. Like this is something that would happen now. We didn't see this stuff in 2002.
Well, let's find out. Robbie Loomis has been on the radio talking, and Jeff, you've been doing a little lobbying here. First of all, I know you're disappointed about what happened. It looked like you were talking, A, about Sterling's position on the restart, and then B, his appearance out of the car on the backstretch, Rob.
Yeah, the restrictor plate racing, it's real important that you lay back on the start like they did to get a good run. That's what caused the big wreck back here behind him. And then when he kind of eased below the line there to turn us, and then he got out to fix it on back straightaway under red. But we'll let NASCAR deal with it. They usually are pretty fair. The rule is you can't work on your car at all under red, and that's what they say.
So you made your point to the NASCAR official working your pit. What did you see on the monitor, Robbie?
All I saw on the monitor was him trying to get his fender clear, and whether the thing will clear. But we'll leave it up to NASCAR. They've been doing a good job with it. We'll see what they decide.
Okay, that's the story from the 24 pit. Matt?
Down here in the 40 pit, Tommy Baldwin Jr., Ward Burton's crew chief from the 22 team, came down and talked to Tony Glover, the team manager. He says, look, God forbid anything should happen to your tire, tell him to pull left out of traffic and we'll go by on the high side. So if he should have some kind of trouble with that tire, if it indeed rubs and does start to go down, pull to the left and we'll go by on the right side.
That's not going to work, Matt, because if that tire goes down, the car on its own is going to the right.
I'm just looking over there. If you look over there, I know there's a judgment call over there. We don't see any French judges in there, do we?
I don't see any place.
We'll be okay then.
Should be okay.
All right. The officials are talking about it. Trying to figure out what they're going to do.
I mean, it's pretty black and white. I mean, they should. Marlin goes to the tail end of the field.
And advance his position. Did he work on his car under the red flag? What's it going to be?
Well, I think we all saw him pull the fender out.
That's pretty obvious, Al.
Yeah.
We all saw that, so we know he tried to pull the fender away from the tire. Now, the yellow line situation down in turn 1, that is a judgment call, and that's up to NASCAR.
Continuing to clean up on the front side of the racetrack here.
Oh, he can't do that. Yeah, I got that forever embedded in my brain. I'm going to remember that till the end of time.
I'm waiting to hear what the penalty would be there. What do you do to him?
I'm just gonna be lying down randomly at the age of 70 and just gonna randomly say, "Oh, he can't do that." And picture Sterling Marlin pulling his fender out in 2002 Daytona 500.
Somebody must have gotten in trouble for it. Someday.
I don't recall it.
Ever?
In my time on the Winston Cup circuit, I don't ever recall it. Someone being penalized for working on their car under the red flag. So I have no memory of that ever happening before.
And I just have no memory.
I've got in my hand a card that they give out to all the crew chiefs and all of the pit road officials, which explains race procedure penalties. And I'm trying to scan down it. I don't see anything on this particular card about the working on the car or the red flag. So we'll follow up with NASCAR here and find out. We're waiting to hear.
That entire restart, most replayed part of the race. No surprise.
With Sterling Marlin's got the same problem.
We're gonna fast forward here. So they end up black flagging Marlin. Didn't realize it was gonna be this long of a cleanup. We'll just go to the final restart because we got like 8 minutes to kill here. So they black flag Sterling Marlin, which they should have done for pulling the fender off.
Let's see what we got left. Mitsubishi Indian cars running good.
So he's on pit road taking tires. Means he has to restart at the tail end of the longest line anyway. Which is to restart with less than 10 laps to go. So at this time, all the lap cars would be behind the lead lap cars on the restart, just as they were on the last restart too.
And if he does win the race, Jeffrey Bodine, he's got to pass Tommy Baldwin's driver out there, Ward Burton. What a crazy day. Can Ward keep it up front? A lot of Fords behind your Dodge.
Yeah, I'm just telling Ward that, you know, but I'm real proud of everybody at this Caterpillar Dodge.
True Chief working on pit road.
Awesome job. They put this car where it is right now, and you know, had a lot
just
of
watched Junior's interview with Sterling.
You know, they got a good break with NASCAR, but
really hurts to see him in it. Yeah, he's got Parkinson's, doesn't he? I saw an interview with Sterling Marlin a couple years ago. I didn't realize he had Parkinson's either. Yeah, it is pretty sad. I haven't watched that interview yet. I definitely have to go back through and catch it. I think it was the first one this year, correct?
Dale Jarrett 4th, and Ryan Newman is 5th. You'll have also in the mix, Mark Martin is 5th, Ryan Newman is 6th, and you'll have Jeff Gordon and Sterling Marlin.
Well, they were able to get him on, though.
And 12th. Here's what Jeff Gordon said right after the crash.
Oh, Lakers are up on Portland.
I mean, Sterling hung back so much there that, I mean, you know, I didn't have a choice but to slow down there. And he had a run on me and I blocked him, you know, got myself turned.
There you have it. We are coming to the green.
This is it. Final restart.
The pace car, Ward Burton is hanging.
And look how far Elliott Sadler is hanging behind Jeffrey.
Yeah.
All trying to time it right.
They're all hanging back again.
That great run allowed him to go by.
3 laps to settle the Daytona.
I don't even know how many cars are on the lead lap at this point. It might be less than 10. 3 laps to go.
Look at the blocking going on back in the pack.
And look, somebody's got a great
Oh, Mark Martin.
Ryan Newman, the youngster from Indiana.
Big block on Sadler.
And this is exactly
Or on
he needs those Fords to get
Bill Elliott, I think.
and it's
Yeah,
working
Elliott.
to perfection for him.
Johnny Benson in the 10 car up high trying to follow.
Let's go, Johnny. Out of nowhere, Johnny Benson in the top 10. Stayed out of trouble. 2.5 laps to go.
Be careful, BP, when this group catches
Little green, white checker. Trophy dash. How about Jeff Bodine in 3rd, though? I forgot he was up in the running late in this thing. James Finch Racing. Not 1990 Jeff Bodine. This is 2002 Jeff Bodine.
Marlin has caught the patch. Jeff Gordon is back from it. Check that. That's Craven. Gordon has caught the pack too.
I think Ward Burton has his car up to speed now. I think he's going to be okay.
I think you're right, BP. These guys aren't close enough.
This is the first Ward Burton has led the whole race, by the way. Slow car in the back stretch, staying out of the way. Somebody in a modified down there as they're racing by. My God.
The traffic mixing and shuffling behind him.
They weren't that far away from making contact with that guy, whoever it is. There are 14 cars on the lead lap. That's it. Just 14 cars left on the lead lap. This is a very modern day-esque race. Oh, now Jarrett gets turned. Somebody was leaving pit road right as he got turned too. They did not make contact though. It looked like he tried to block Mark Martin and turned himself. Running in 4th. I forgot Jarrett spun there, honestly.
Elliott Sadler was shaking, finishing 3rd in the Pepsi 400. Just imagine what that young man is going through now, about to finish 2nd in the Daytona 500.
About ready to faint.
I'm telling you.
I can vividly remember, or mentally I guess remember that call. Go, Ward. That would be the underdog of the race. There's a reason why I was saving it. Ward Burton, only 5 career Cup wins. Didn't quite get to 5 yet. I think his last win came later in this season.
Good for Ward. Talking to Ward Burton, said, what's been your biggest thrill in racing? He said, winning the Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina. Old race, my family was there. I guarantee you, he'll change his tune now.
Oh boy, are you kidding? Not anymore. This is it. The last time Dodge won the Daytona 500, 1974, with Richard Petty. Ward Burton never led all day until those final laps when he took
Caterpillar came, paddock, I can't talk. The Caterpillar paint scheme, by the way, very, very underrated. I gotta get a Caterpillar paint scheme at some point. Surprised I don't have one yet. I've had an opportunity to get it multiple times. But yeah, Ward Burton's gonna get the underdog of the race award for ourselves here.
Does this reality match that dream, Tommy? You told me you dreamed of this win. Oh man, I tell you, this is for my little boy back home in Long Island who's stuck this out without me being around for some years, and hope he's proud of me today. And you know, everyone at Caterpillar and the Dodge, I want to thank everybody, all the BDR guys, man. We won a Daytona 500. Enough said. The Cat guys are going to celebrate tonight.
Bill Davis, the team owner from Arkansas, one of the most respected and well-liked men in the NASCAR Winston Cup garage.
Bill Davis, Gail Davis, two of the nicest people in the garage area.
And he's going to have a Daytona 500 trophy on the mantle. I talked with Ward Burton earlier this week. Said he'd spent so much time this winter crisscrossing America on fundraising trips. Spokesman for the Wildlife Foundation, among other things. He said, I'm ready to go racing. I think I can win the Daytona 500. He's done it. BP, what's that ride like?
Oh, man. There's no words to describe it. As a matter of fact, Ward Burton right now probably has to take this lap, this extra 4 or 5 minutes, just to get some kind of control over his emotions. All the firemen come out congratulating Ward Burton. This is a very, very emotional moment.
Ward, the oldest of the two Burton brothers on the Winston Cup circuit. Started this race in 19th place, and as I said a minute ago, never led all day until those final few laps. And Sterling Marlin went to pit road. Ward Burton took over the lead and held it.
I wish Ward Burton had a better ride for most of his career. Would have been interested to see if he could have competed for championships.
Nice, good-looking man right
Maybe
there.
had a similar career statistically to Jeff.
Oh boy, Bill.
Jeff racing for Roush and
Okay, Ward,
RCR basically his whole career.
And talk to these folks now.
Elliott Sadler finished second, Jeff Bodine third, Kurt Busch fourth, Michael Waltrip came through that last shuffle to finish fifth, Jeff Gordon wound up ninth, Sterling Marlin eighth, and Dale Jarrett did not finish the last lap. He wound up 14th.
You see those NASCAR officials going checking the rear spoiler on the back of the Caterpillar Dodge. They have a minimum height requirement or angle. It's supposed to be about 55 degrees, and obviously he has passed. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
Okay, Jeff, let's first of all start off talking about the contact out there on the racetrack with you and Sterling. You said on the radio, was it your fault? Do you have time to think about it under the red flag? And your thoughts now?
Yeah, I mean, me being spun was my fault because he hung back so far, which I didn't think he was supposed to be able to do, but he did, and he had me. You know, he got a restart, he had me, and I moved down in front of him to block him, and I did, and got me a little bit of a push, but he still got inside me, and I just tried to block him, and all I had to do was just hold the wheel straight and spun me out.
Honestly, it looked like he held the wheel straight, and Marlin came from below the double yellow line above it, and that's what ended up hooking Gordon. That's what I thought personally. I think Gordon's being a little too hard on himself here.
Position, and it was a wild and crazy race out there. I tell you, I went from the back to the front to the back. It was incredible. I'm just thankful to come home ninth with the DuPont Chevrolet. I want to thank DuPont, Pepsi, Quaker State Fritos, GMAC. You know, it's just a great effort for us today, and you know, just
probably saving that engine on Ward Burton's car.
Night for a man who drove a very good race, Matt.
Well, Sterling, first off, can you even begin to describe your side of the controversy?
No, I mean, it's a Daytona 500, and you're going to try to win the thing, and, laid back, try to get a run on Jeff, and as soon as he got across the line, hooked left, and he got up his quarter panel, and, his deal is he's going to try to block. If I was in his shoes, I'd try to block too, and we just hooked together, hooked bumpers, and he spun out, and I went on and got my fender on my tire. So, we tried to get it pulled off, but NASCAR didn't like it, so let's go rear.
Did you question that? I mean, them questioning you, messing with the fender?
Well, I seen Earnhardt doing it at Richmond one time, so he got out and cleaned his windshield off, so I thought it was okay. I guess it was.
I guess not. Sterling Marlin nearly pulls off a win here in Daytona, Alan. It's disappointing.
He's got a fair point.
At least he could smile about losing Daytona 500.
Ward Burton will add his name to the Harley J. Earl Trophy as winner.
I don't think that tire would have held up for 3 laps on a restart, though, either. So, that was kind of like a last-ditch effort here. Let me try to pull it off so I don't have to pit on the restart. Didn't work. Yeah, I don't think he would have won the race, honestly. I don't think that tire would have held up. It could have, but I don't think it was going to. Then he would have had to, hold him off on the restart, too. With the damaged car, it would have been tough. Get the interview from Ward Burton, and then we'll end the stream tonight.
He's just slowly taking
Is that
his
Jeb?
time because he wants to do this right.
Wait a minute.
Savor the moment. Savor the moment.
I didn't realize this till just now. Is that
Just
Jeb?
savor the moment.
Can't blame him.
Ward's son?
Regaining his composure a little bit too. Bill Weber has the pleasure of
I saw a kid there. I don't think it was Harrison. I mean, it could be Harrison, but
I imagine he's doing exactly
Harrison's
what you guys
Jeff's
were
kid.
talking about. Taking his time,
Jeb's a little
composing
older,
himself,
too, so...
thinking about this moment, winner of the Daytona
I mean, Harrison Burton's younger than I am, so 2002, I don't even know if Harrison... Is Harrison born yet? I don't think Harrison Burton was born yet. This has to be Jeb
Where
Burton.
you're watching, you'll be able to hear him get out. And here it is, the 2002 Daytona 500.
Yeah, that's got to be Jeb Burton right there. I don't think Harrison was born yet.
Keep your eyes on him, guys. Maybe I can get it.
He's right in the middle, Bill, right on those red shirts.
A lot of people from Dodge, Caterpillar, and his family. Forever now, they will introduce Ward Burton as champion of the Daytona 500. Congratulations.
Wow, I tell you, I didn't do it by myself, though. Team worked all hard, all winter. Dodger support, Caterpillar support. How about that Elliott Sadler? I pushed him to a third place finish in the Firecracker 400, or the Pepsi 400, and Elliott worked with me just flawlessly there at the end. And one Virginian to another.
Ward, tell me about the final restart to the checkers.
Nerve-wracking. I didn't ever even look at the flag. I wasn't going to stop. When I saw the other guys back off, that's when I backed off. I can't believe it. A lot of what happens here is atmosphere, luck. We had some luck today. 29 cars spun over there.
Gonna need some subtitles for the interview.
Proud of my team.
I was
Great race team.
I was thinking the same thing. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, there's no there's no subtitles.
He knows what he's doing. I just didn't want him to get a big speed.
There's no subtitles, unfortunately. Yeah, I can only understand like half the words he's saying, honestly.
Ward, you fought
I'm
so
trying.
hard to get to this point in your career. There were some times when this team wasn't even going to have sponsorship. Now you have
Turbo 14, thanks for tuning in. Probably here the whole time, but seeing the chat for the first time.
Well, one of them has. This is the first year that Bill Davis Racing hasn't had to make a big change of some kind to catch up to the big boys. So we're ready to rock all year. I don't know what was going to happen today, but it's a great way to start. I feel really good about the whole year.
Congratulations, you're the Daytona 500 champ. Ward Burton, even I get up.
Harrison Burton was born in 2000. Okay, so he was around. He just, yeah, definitely is not him. That has to be Jeb.
You could say Dodge was the spoiler.
A young Jeb Burton sighting.
Yes, you can, Bill. Dodge getting
Alrighty, that's going to end today's Throwback Thursday live stream of the 2002 Daytona 500. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so already and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys tomorrow night on the channel for our next live stream. Go back to the video game side of things for the rest of the weekend. Again, NASCAR's off this weekend, then they'll be at Daytona the following week, as we'll be running our NASCAR 22 Championship 4 race at Phoenix tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you for that one. It'll be a lot of fun. So again, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. We'll be racing our Championship 4 at Phoenix. Trying to go for a championship there. And it'll be my first championship on NASCAR 22, with it being our first season on that side of the game. So appreciate the support as always. Be sure to hit the like button again. Subscribe if you haven't already. Live commentary, live streams for the real races on the race weekend for the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup, as well as these Throwback Thursdays every Thursday as well on the channel, and NASCAR video game live streams throughout the course of the week with the same realistic commentary used on the race weekends as well. So appreciate the support as always. See you guys tomorrow night at 6, and I will have a good night. Hopefully you guys will as well.